All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to the stream. Hopefully you guys are having a fantastic start to your day. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we got another Fortnite Battle Royale live stream. Let's get it, baby. Let's get it. We're back with some more T1 high quality content. Yo, Gabriel, Flaming Hawk, Drummer, Big Daddy, Logan, Ryu, Jesse, Jorge, Alan. Welcome to the stream. Appreciate you guys all coming out. Red Demon, Unity, Crazy, Eric, Jiminer, Peanut Man, welcome to the stream. What's up, Joe Dad, Blowjob Joe, FNG, Cod, Nathan, Fine Dad, Justin, Jesse, Prestige, what's up, brother? How you doing today? Carson, Jaden, Drummer, Premier, Freddick, Jay, Stepper. Welcome to the stream, guys. Appreciate you guys all coming out. Let me just throw that up on screen here, right here. What's up, Fusion? How you doing today? Sean Smith, what's up, Lone Wolf? How you doing today? 21 Moneymaker. What's up, Christopher? President. Pad, Noel, Ruggs, Simon, Oscar, Omarion, Jeffrey, Backstabber, Brody. Welcome to the stream. Josh, Luis, DeMarcus, Flex, Anonymous, Snake, Vlogs, MK Vlogs, Steven, Katie. What's up, Tyler and Jordan? Yo, welcome to the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you guys all coming out. Appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be hunting for the brand new crossbow in today's live stream. I'm looking forward to it, man. Because the crossbow looks pretty freaking sick. I really want to play it. Please turn slow mode off. Slow mode, it's only a 10-second slow mode, guys, so I'm not going to turn it off. I think 10 seconds is literally perfect. That means you just have to wait 10 seconds in between each message that you type in the chat. You fought Ninja? Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw the clip yesterday, but I woke up to seeing that Ninja had responded to my tweet, which was so sick. If you guys were there in yesterday's stream, you most likely saw the fight that I had with Ninja. I didn't realize I was in a game with him, and then we ended up tweeting the video at him. We tagged him in the video, and then he ended up responding to the tweet and said, GG, good fight, brother. Just cool. I nerded out. I had a complete like freak out moment. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys because I thought that was really sick. We are going to go ahead though and hop into the brand new shooting test because this was originally just a squad thing, but now they made it a solo thing, which is awesome. What's up, Alan? Don't forget us. Chill, Dugan. What's up, Tanner? Nah, Dugan, I'm not going to forget you, man. I'm not going to forget you. He still doesn't know who I am. I was just watching Ninja this morning. I subbed to him on Twitch, and he reads my name, and he's like, ProHenis. Play the clip? You guys can go to my Twitter if you want to see the clip. My Twitter is at ProHenis. Make sure you guys drop it a follow, too. I showed the clip so many times on stream yesterday. I just kind of want to hop into a game right now. This live stream, by the way, guys, so I'm doing it like a morning stream right now. This live stream is probably... Bro, yes, I knew he was going to respond, dude. It's so sick. You're sick with the flu? Dank memes. Damn, that sucks, man. Yo, best of luck. Hopefully you feel better soon, brother. Yo, make sure you guys drop a like in the stream if you're new. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. But yeah, this live stream this morning, we're probably going to do this until about, I would say, maybe like 2:30. So that's at approximately 3 hours from now. So we're going to have like a nice solid 3-hour long live stream. Can't wait to see the new crossbow. A lot of people are saying it's really stupid. I only saw like a little bit of gameplay with it. Apparently the drop off is like ridiculous. I don't know. We'll just have to see. I mean, maybe we'll be able to find it in our first game. Who knows? What's up, Food Jumper? I was watching one of your videos. Hey, thank you, man. What's up, Charles Richter? Any night stream? Yes, I will be doing a night stream tonight. Yeah, just simply because this live stream is going to be in the morning. I'm only doing this because of the new update that dropped. But yeah, the crossbow is all right. Yeah. It's got unlimited ammo, which is interesting. It's very, very interesting. I'm going to go, actually, nah, do I go all the way to Pleasant? Yeah, I'm going to go all the way to Pleasant. We got out a little bit late for it, but it's fun. Yeah, I'm looking forward to trying it out, man. If we can find the crossbow first game, I'm going to be really stoked. Really, really stoked. But yeah, I've heard that the drop off, like the bullet drop, is just kind of weird on the crossbow, but we'll see. Yes, Dustin, I do remember you, man. Welcome back to the stream. It has 75 damage for blue and 79 for purple. Really? So it's not a one-shot? Oh, God. It's not even a one-shot. Okay. That's unfortunate. How screwed is this guy? No, it's a 2-shot, I think. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, it sucks that it's not a 1-shot, you know? No game audio? Wait, you guys for real? Hold on. Are you guys for real? No game audio? Oh, bro, you gotta be kidding me. Shoot. How am I gonna do this? I don't know if I can fix this while Fortnite's open. Sound. Here we go. No, this is it. Okay. And I just need to go here. Wasn't this? No. Come on, dude. I'm like literally in the middle of a game. Okay. You guys don't get any now. Come on, dude. You've got to be kidding me. Of all times for this to happen, man, I'm literally right in the middle of a game. I'm still alive, though, so that's the good news. Okay, so maybe it's this one, then? I think it's that one. I just got shotgunned it. Yep. Alright, well, I found the setting, and I got killed. Oh, man. That's perfect. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Rebel says, I saw the crossbow. Oh, man. I just had a 15 kill game with the crossbow. That's definitely a lie. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Joe's Mums, bro. Please don't self-promote in the chat, guys. Like, please. Sound is back? Yeah, I apologize for that, guys. I don't know why the sound wasn't in the stream there for a second. But the audio should be back now. My bad. That's so frustrating that that happens, man. Can you guys hear the music as well? Let me know if you guys can hear the music. Because you should be able to. It should just be a very faint, like, just beat that's going on in the background. What's up, Payne? Welcome to the stream. How you doing today, my man? Yeah, no, music audio should definitely be in there. What is self-promoting? It's when somebody will come into the stream and like self-promote their own YouTube channel or their own Twitch channel or something. It's just obnoxious, you know. Just not a cool thing to do. Yeah, you guys can't hear it? Okay. Cool. You ever gotten a kill, a one-shot kill with a crossbow? I wonder what would happen if you got a headshot with it. Which I would imagine would be pretty difficult to do. Music is good. All right, good. Yeah, I'm just gonna be chilling in the brand new, like the shooting test for right now, and then we'll move on to the other, move on to some like just regular solos probably at some point today too. What's up, Luis? How you doing today, Matthew? Damn, I was gonna go run up and say hello to that guy. What's a shooting test? So they took out Bloom and they're just testing it out in a shooting test of Fortnite. Where do I want to go? I'm gonna dare go Tilted. Be a good way to sort of warm ourselves up here at the beginning. Nice shark, thank you. 150 damage for a headshot. All right. Hey, so then if somebody's got on no shield, we're set. You know what I'm saying? Yo, what's up, Vontae? I heard a chest of some sort. Are you kidding me, dude? Wow. Super weak, bro. We'll pick up those potions here in a sec. Yeah. I should have just used the chug jug, I guess. Bro, you just killed Ninja? Nah, that wasn't Ninja. Wait. No way. Stop. You guys are... There's no way that just happened. You're definitely messing with me, guys. You are so messing with me, chat. You guys are so 100% messing with me. Pick up those potions here in a sec. Nah, that wasn't Ninja. Wow. You guys trolled me so hard. Are you kidding me, dude? I pickaxe Ninja? That just makes me feel bad, bro. Like... Bruh, he just gave up. No way, dude. What are the chances of that? Bro, why did he just stop? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Bro, then I look like a freaking idiot when I miss my swipe on him, man. You gotta be kidding me. I pickaxe Ninja, dude. I guess I'm dropping the nades, bro. That was actually Ninja, bro. I didn't even realize it. I pickaxed Ninja in a game of Fortnite Battle Royale. Dude, I can just, like... That's just not even... Bro, that's not even a good gunfight. You can't even... Bro, I love how I didn't even notice. That's the best part. I'm trying to figure out what I want here. Oh, man. I don't even know anymore, bro. That's funny. Whoa. Bro, somebody has to go. He killed you, now you killed him, bro, in like a span of 12 hours. Can somebody go get his I want to see what his reaction was. That was definitely not supposed to be a kill. I jumped too far, bro. I jumped too far. Yo, somebody has to go get a clip of Ninja's reaction. That was so stupid. I jumped closer to the building. Bro, so why did he stop? Why did he just stop and stand still? Bro, you know what's funny too? I woke up and I was just watching his stream this morning and he was so pissed about like not getting any kills and not getting any wins. What's up, Solution? How you doing today, man? Fusion says, I sponsored 2 months ago and now my parents asked me to remove it and save my money. It ends in 10 days. I will still be incredibly active after. Just hope you can recognize me without my badge. Sorry, hey, Fusion, no worries, man. I'll do my best, bro. I'll do my best. He's not live? No way. Bro, of all people, man, that's funny. That's funny. It looked like he was mad. I mean, like, yeah, that's funny. That's funny. What could he possibly be mad about, bro? It's just one of those days, right? Everybody's got those weird off days. That's just timing is all that is. If he gets that pistol before me, I'm dead, you know? That's really all there is to it. Bro, in less than 12 hours, man. How does revenge feel? That's not even satisfying though, dude. He just sat there and took it. Like it wasn't even that's not a good gunplay. Bro. I kind of want to upload that clip to Twitter, bro. I kind of want to upload that clip to Twitter and just say, what are the chances, ... with a laughing emoji. No, yeah, what are the chances that we run into each other in a span of like 12 hours? That's funny. That's too good. Love the videos. Keep up the good work. Yo, you too, Christopher. Keep up the good work. His reaction would be funny as hell. I wonder if he'd even react to the tweet. I hope he would. Why did I just shoot there, bro? Come on, Henis. That's literally right beneath me. Come on. Oh. He's right in there, chat. Come on. Oh, baby. He set up traps somewhere. I don't know where, though. Yo, guys, he just got our first kill with the crossbow. Let's get it. It seems kind of useless, but not gonna lie, that's kind of fun. Oh, man. Yo, Bear, if you're in the stream, I think you know what to do. I think you're on, Bro, I heard so many traps get placed, bro. Now I'm just, like... Now I'm just freaking out. Need a shotgun is what I really need right now. Yo, what's up, Mac Max? How you doing today, brother? Let's get it. Henis, how are you, bro? Yo, Mac Gross, I'm doing pretty great, man. I kind of wish I'd won that fight. Or won that game, I mean. Crossbow sucks? Yeah, I don't think it's anything special. It's just going to be sort of like a gag weapon that's fun to use. Oh, but you can reload it. Sure, a door open. Imagine.
This is a Chucky Beat production.
Think he has any idea where that just came from?
This is a Chucky Beat production.
It's so silent, bro. What's up, Unbeatable Ninja? How you doing, man? Shoot, not at the right angle. Oh, God. I just no-scoped him. I just no-scoped him. Oh! Okay, Henis. Bro, I'm a god. I'm literally a god. I'm trying to figure out where this kill is. Where this kid is. Come on. What the hell did I just do? I didn't mean to shoot. Really want him to... GG's, bro. Oh my lord. Okay. Ooh, man. Yeah, I'm low-key freaking right now. Alright, hold on. I gotta go ahead and fix the donation alerts here. Let me get down here real quick. Alright, let me fix these donation alerts, guys. My bad.
Nice crossbow clip.
Yo, thank you so much, Joey. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate the dono. Thank you for coming to the stream. Get some Joey hype in the chat, guys. Let's get it. I think somebody's shoveling right outside. Hopefully we're not bothering them. Oh, God, we're not even in the safe zone. Yo, Joey hype in the chat, though, guys. Would appreciate it. I didn't realize we weren't even in the safe zone, bro. You guys just heard those footsteps, too, though, right? That wasn't just me. God, man, we're taking so much damage, bro. Ah. You need more material or you're gonna die? Yeah, I definitely need a lot more material. Okay, dude, right down there.
So this one time I was a mod on your stream.
Yo, McStabosaurus, what's up, man? Aren't you still a mod, brother? Hey, come on now. I'm all out of material. It's not my gunfight to be taking. And I'm still all out of material. I don't even know why am I even going this way, man. I gotta loop back around. I gotta get the high ground. Come on, man. He actually fell down. He actually took the time to fall down. Yo, crossbow kill again. You guys ready for this? You guys ready for this? Could have sworn he would still be underneath there. Where the hell did he go, bro? I need the crossbow again. There we go. Crossbow kill. Woo. Okay, definitely need more building material. Definitely gonna need that.
Nope, I'm not a mod anymore. That hurts, sir.
Wait, hold on. I know I recently did a mod purge, but I don't remember unmodding you, bro. I'm being 100% honest. You're really consistent with coming into the stream, so I would have no reason to unmod you.
I ordered is sick and everyone who buys a shirt automatically gains an inch.
Oh, Jesus. God damn it, Joey. Oh, yo. Oh, no, I'm dead. 100%. 100%. I don't have any meds. Alright, there's a chest right up here. This is going to have a jump pad and a med kit in it. Well, this sucks, bro. There's no way I'm surviving this now. God damn it, man. Are the donations playing twice or am I bugging? No. Are they really playing twice? Like, do you guys hear... So, it's not playing twice, but you're hearing duplicates of the audio? The donations are playing twice. You've got to be kidding me. Yeah, they are? Okay. Just gonna look for a jump pad. If I don't find a jump pad, man, then I just gotta get the hell out of here, bro. Or I just kill somebody else that's also running. What's up, Beast Monkey? I heard it's quieter and then it played again louder. Huh. It's twice and it gets louder. Okay. I know exactly what that is. I heard a quieter version start to play a couple seconds before the main version. Yep. I know exactly what's causing that, bro. And you know what sucks? I can't mute the Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I can. I think actually. If I do this and then do this. Oh no, but now you guys can't hear music, right? That's the only real downside to that. You guys can't hear music now. Or no, can you guys hear music? No, you guys can't. The music's playing, but it's just not getting picked up. What's up, Big Johnson? How you doing today, brother? Yeah, it's like, so the audio is coming... Yeah. Oh, that's a new dance, bro. I gotta get the new dance. I gotta check out the new skins, too. I gotta buy some of the new skins. Where's the loyalty shop at? Loyalty.proHenis.com. Did Ninja respond? Yeah, he did end up responding to the tweet, guys. The CROSSBOW is unlimited ammo? Yeah, it's pretty cool. ProHenis, love the videos. Yo, thank you, Slogo Boy. Appreciate it, man. What's up, Nathan? Oh, that's so sucky, bro. I don't know what else to do. Is Fortnite free to download on every device? Yes, it is, man. I guess we're just gonna have to go without any music for right now, because the donos, that'd be super annoying. But McStabosaurus, music sucks. You can't hear it. It just takes out the 2 times donation. Yeah. That's just really the only sucky part.
I'm a big fan. Hope you have a great day.
Yo, thank you, Al Cotter Gaming. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Yo, let's get some Al Cotter spam in the chat. Appreciate the love, man. No, the music is better. You guys would rather have the music and hear the donations twice. Alright. Type 1 in the chat if you guys want me to turn music back on, but every time a donation comes in, you may hear that duplicate for the donation sound, or you will hear that duplicate for the donation sound. Or type 2 if you're like, nah, Henis, no music. The donation sound duplicate's gonna bother me. Put a 1 if you want the music, 2 if you don't want the music in the chat. Place your vote. Whichever one gets the most votes, that'll be the one that we'll go with. I'm definitely seeing more 1s than 2s, I'm pretty sure. Alright, so we'll do it. We'll do it. What's up, Glitch Man? Dude, are we in a shotgun only mode right now? What the hell's happening? What's up, Anonymous? Bruh. I don't even think there's a chest above me. There's a guy. Can't hit him, though. There's 3 people here. And now I'm gonna come in and kill you. Come on, man. Henis, how do I enter into the giveaways? I run giveaways every single month on my channel, bro. Oh, I just got shot at by CROSSBOW. What's coming from all the way over here? You guys definitely heard that, right? I'm not tripping. Coming from some dude up on the mountain, I'm pretty sure. There he is. Come on, I really want to try to rush this guy, bro. Come on, man. Come on, brother. Shoot. Alright, bro, we're gonna play this game. Just don't, okay? God, if he was actually gonna try to kill me, bro, I'm just trying to have some light fun out here, man. What's up, Noah Pineda? What's up, Richie? Yo, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe if you have not done so already. Really does help the channel out a lot. Appreciate the support as well, of course. Shoot, man. Come on. Can't tell there's more than one guy over here. Okay. Oh, he's right over here. Oh, okay. Cute. Come on, man. Oh. He's got a sniper. Really, man? We're gonna do it. We're gonna play this game. Wait, what? I'm gonna crossbow him. I'm gonna crossbow him. I'm all out of building material. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Bloom. Or actually, there's no Bloom. Oh, we can't even... Yeah. No need to thank the Bloom because it's not even in the game. Okay. Pick that back up. Doing good. Look at you two playing the love game. Wait, what do you mean? Oh. Well, I'm dead. Ah, come on, man. We run all out of building material. God. Yo, what's up, Ev Vlogs? What's up, Corey Dixon? How you doing today, man? Hey, yo, what's up, Pixel? God damn it, man. God damn it. Yo, so Joey did come up with another 3. He said, yo, the shirt I ordered is sick and everyone who buys the shirt automatically gains an inch. I've heard. Yo, thank you so much, Joey, for the 3. I do appreciate that, man. Let's get some Joey hype in the chat. Al Cotter then comes in with a $2 donation, says, hey, man, big fan. Hope you have a great day. Excuse me, Al Cotter. Thank you so much, bro. I do appreciate the love. I definitely should have had that snipe on that guy. The guy that was trying to LMG us. I just shot too high. Should not have done that. Oh, wait, hold on. Cancel, 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 cancel. Select mode. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the item shop. No, I think it's loading me in. Oh, no, it didn't. Okay, thank God. All right, item shop. Isn't there supposed to be like some new, like, love items or whatever? The flapper. Bro, I love that, man. All right, we're buying that real quick. Give me a quick second here, chat. All right, let me go ahead and get the music back on here for you guys again as well. Because I know you guys would rather have the music. There you go. There's that. All right, so now I got to go to the item shop. I want to buy this. I got to get V-Bucks. Gotta buy $10 worth of V-Bucks, man. Oh, what's up, Typical Panda? You should have picked up the minigun. I don't think that would have helped us out too much, bro. What state do I live in? I live in Maine, brother. What's up, Mel? You're addicted to wasting money on Fortnite? No, I'm not. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, man? What are you talking about? And we'll make this one the floss. Change my outfit too, actually. Spice things up a little bit. There's no cool like new outfits that I would like want. You should see how much money I spent. No, like owned. I bought a lot of this stuff. The Devastator. God, that outfit looks so dumb. All right, let me just change the outfit to something I already have. We'll just rock with the we'll rock with the bedazzled girl. And for the pickaxe, we're gonna do with the AC/DC. Love the channel, bro. Yo, thank you, Slogo Boy. Appreciate it, man. You streaming this early? Does this mean you have a zombie stream tonight? No, the reason I'm streaming this early is because of the update for Fortnite. But I gotta go in like 2.5 hours, so I'm just gonna be streaming for about 2.5 hours, and then I'm gonna be getting off. And then tonight I will stream again. Absolutely.
Dude, I live in Maine too.
Hey, yo, Fallen Angel, dude. Actually, that's dope. That is dope. Appreciate the support. Appreciate the donation. And, yo, hopefully you like living in Maine, man. I don't mind it. I like it. It's a nice place. It's cold, but that's not too bad. It's not too bad. What's up, Sherry? What am I doing for the next giveaway? I think you should do a choice of PS4, Xbox, or PC gift cards so we can get skins. Yeah, so when I do V-Bucks, using the way that it works is like, so I'll give away like $50 worth of V-Bucks. So essentially the way that it works is, once the winner's chosen, they'll give me their PayPal email address, and then I'll send them the money to buy the V-Bucks. And then they can buy V-Bucks for whatever console they want, essentially. That's the reason I do that. You went to Maine over the summer? Hey, it is vacation land. Maine's nice in the summer. It really is. What's up, Shannon? What if we aren't allowed to have a PayPal? Could you send us a gift card or no? Yeah, no, I could send you a gift card. That could definitely work. That could definitely work. So I would just have to buy you a gift card for your console and then just send you the gift card code and then you could redeem it. What's up, Tic-Tacker? Or if it's easier for you, like you just give me your PayPal, your parents' PayPal email address or something. I'm so excited to show off my new dance to everybody. How much snow did I get? I don't even know, bro. Like, I honestly have no idea. I do not know the exact inch amount. Let's go tilt the towers again. Is that a new dance? Yeah, it's one of the brand new dances that was just added. It's pretty dope. Alright, I'm going clock tower. It's happening. This is happening. Oh no, I landed too low, didn't I? I can get right on the side right here. Oh, crossbow, baby. Yo, to start off the match. Let's freaking go. Okay. Quite the start. That is quite the start. Definitely in here. Whoa. Henis, you could not be managing this more horribly right now. Okay. Oh my. Woo. Okay. Yikes. That's not cool. Hold on, let me go get this chest that's over here. Huh. Sniper. Ooh. Take that out. Hell yeah. Alright, I'm pretty sure this guy placed some more traps. So I'm kind of nervous moving around here, to be honest with you. I don't really know where to go. Yo, Zin comes in with the dono,
Love
man.
you, Henis winking face.
Yo, I love you too, brother. Appreciate the love and support, my guy. Oh, God. He never leaves his computer, stupid questions. Bro, I gotta get like a solid game. I gotta get a solid gameplay with the crossbow, man. Oh wait, I think Billiard got the clip. I think Billiard got the clip of me killing Ninja. Did you see his face, bro? Wait. Right here. Oh my God. "23 kills incoming." Oh, mega lol. That's awesome, bro. That's too great. That Ninja, what a guy, man.
Yes. Give me 30 seconds. Fuck God, give me first.
Oh shit! That was really loud. I didn't realize it was gonna keep playing more clips. Goddamn, that actually scared the living crap out of me. Demonetized? Demonetized. I'm gonna go tilted again. Hey, what's up, Street Bro? How you doing today, my man? I always keep a spare pair of shoes at work that I change into so people don't know it's me when I'm taking a dump. That's smart, bro. That's smart. That's good thinking. That's called thinking ahead. Have I killed more than 10 people? Today, bro? I don't know. It's possible I haven't. Nah, I'm just kidding. I definitely have. like. This pickaxe is so loud. Oh, horse is right there, bro. I was not expecting to be greeted with this. I thought that was the tactical SMG. I did it. Is ProBot really not working? No, ProBot's working, man. Come on, Lumby. You said that in the middle of ProBot just spamming in the chat, bro. Oh no. What's up, Patrick? McStabber says, what did I miss? Not a whole lot, man. Not a whole lot, unfortunately. I gotta change this pickaxe. This pickaxe is literally god awful. As stupid as that one looks, we're going with it. Every time you kill someone, do the flab. Oh god. I used to be in a band called Missing Cat. You probably saw our posters on poles. Bro, I aim too high in that second shot, like I know that, but goddamn. Was it really that off? That first shot when he's falling out of the sky? Whizzing. Whizzing.
This is a Chucky Beat production.
I love how Billiard spams trash. Billiard, talk to me after you pickaxe Ninja to death in Fortnite, alright? In an epic pickaxe fight, alright? That's when you can talk to me. Payne, I don't give the specifics of where I live, bro. Just for privacy reasons. I don't know where else to go at this point. I think we just head to the safe zone. What can you do with coins? Yeah, so viewers can use coins to enter into giveaways that I run at the end of every single month on my channel. 1 second. Give me a quick second. Billiard, I don't want to hear it. You're a cyberbully? Nah, Billiard's cyberbullying me. Every time I do something in Fortnite, he tells me I suck. You know how insecure that makes me? Makes me so insecure. I have to go and, like, I go and cry. I already have some. How many coins do you need to enter the giveaways? Most of the giveaways that I do, it costs 25 coins per entry. So the more coins that you have, the more coins you can use to enter into the giveaway. That's usually how it works. I lost 480 coins in your damn flip coins debacle. Lol. Yeah, sorry, man. How do you get coins? You earn coins simply by watching the stream, man. Henis is bad unless he hits a 360 no-scope on somebody with a sniper. Then I'm bad. And I am definitely bad. How late is the giveaway at the end of each month? So, well, the giveaways usually happen at the end of each month. So they'll happen in the last live stream of the last, or in the live stream on the last day of each month. What's up, Caden? What's up, Pro? Welcome to the stream. What's up, Ben Rise? All right, where people could be coming from? So many of the major POIs are still covered in the safe zone. I don't know. You won't read this? You're right, Caleb. I won't. Sorry, man. But welcome to the stream, dude. If you don't mind, could you tweet when you're doing the giveaway like 3 or 4 hours in advance because I don't want to miss it? It happens on. I mean, they happen on the last live stream of every single month, man. So as long as you're just in the live stream that I do, that's on the last day of every single month. I mean, I don't usually give 3 or 4 hours notice for live streams. But yeah, just know that they usually happen on the last day of every single month. And I usually stream around, you know, relatively the same time of day. The reason this live stream is earlier is just because of the update. That's all. How often do I stream? Every single day, man. What's up, Code? Yeah, turn on notifications for the stream. Epic shotgun battle going down over here near factory. Who's going to come out on top? The Red Onion Ninja does shotgun. Flacco 88. ProHenis is coming up here from the north, approaching them in the southern direction. What will happen is he approaches this gunfight. Only time will tell. ProHenis does spot one. He sees him. Shots are fired. Not able to connect on the body as the enemy is retreating back behind the storm over here. ProHenis does spot another player. Not able to hit his shots. Ultimately going to end up building a... Okay, I'm done. Wow, that was really bad. Really, really bad. Really, really bad. Really, really bad. Jump pad. And a scar. Okay. Just gonna drink this right here. Fix ProBot? ProBot's working fine, man. Thank God there's no static like last night. Oh, there's no static? Oh, thank God. Well, thank the Lord. Let's pick these back up, right? Might as well keep those. More brick right here. We got 999 wood, man. You have no idea how happy that makes me to have 999 wood. What's up, Caleb? How's the crossbow? It's nothing special, man. Whoa. I think he's right behind this tree right here. Why was that so confusing, bro? Why did it sound like he was everywhere? Holy God. Hey, yo, what's up, More Than Divine? How you doing today, bud? Welcome to the stream, my man. You should get one of the new skins for the gameplay. I don't. None of there's no like new skins. I have the new dance. That's it. I don't think there's any new skins though. If you're talking about like the country skins, I already have the USA one. That's the only one that I have. How do you check how many coins you have? Type exclamation point coins in the chat, man, and the bot should tell you. What's good, Ben? What is this little base somebody's built right here? Looks kind of cute. I kind of want to go visit it. Oh, God. Yeah, so there was actually somebody up there. Okay. I think you can shoot through that board. Kind of tempted to jump head over to him, but that's whatever. Is he still up here hiding? I think he is. Yikes. Nice. Let's get it. Chug jug? Yeah, I don't need to use the chug jug though. That's the only thing. Oh, Jesus. Okay, now I'm a little bit more tempted to use the chug jug. Actually, no, no. Yeah. Wait a minute. Ah. God damn it, dude. Come on, man. GG's. GG's. That sucks. Oh, I thought it was going to happen, man. RIP. RIP. Love your stream so much. I'm watching it during school. Hey, Trinity, appreciate that, man. Yo, let's get some rips in the chat. Pro rips, dude. That was a good fight. That was a good fight. That was a nice ending to that game. Reese Conway, I think I got your $1 donation, man. I appreciate that, dude. That dude's name, Chili Billy Willy, my boy. Oh, man, dude. That sucks. What's up, Pain? What's up, Street Kids? What's up, Jaden? Oh, dude. Rip, you need Ocean? Bro, I need Ocean in my life. I need Ocean to carry me. You're not doing too good, man. What's up with that? Bro, I thought that those last couple gunfights I thought were pretty good. I don't know. That's weird. I feel like maybe if I don't know. It's always the tack though, right? It's always those close quarters engagements. I mean, I don't know. It is what it is. How can I sponsor? There's a link in the description down below, man. Damn, Billiard, Joe's Most Bro, and King of the Bears all just timed out the same person. Have I ever been to Acadia? Yeah, I've been to Acadia, man. Absolutely. What's up, Angel? That was a good match. Yeah, we're gonna go Tilted Towers again, though. We're going more high octane, man. We got this. We got this. We got this. Yo, Bear, did you end up finding Nah, actually, maybe I'll do that after the stream. We'll see. Is it bad that I watch your streams instead of working? No, bro. That's what you should be doing. You should use a double pump more. I'd rather die than use a double pump. Double pump's like the last thing I want to use consistently in this game. What's up, Crash? What's up, Dimitrik? What's up, Thomas? Find what? I was gonna say to edit, like, if you didn't mind editing another clip, the clip of me killing Ninja again. But it's all good. Alright, let's make some magic happen here. Dude, right outside here. Cure chest too. I don't even know where that is. How much fun as it would be to rush in there. How come we have not found a single person yet? What? Me and David saying, hey, Street Kids, I got you, brother. What's up, Ryan? Try to do the double pump, it's way better. I don't know, I'm just not a big fan of the double pump, even though I know I just picked it up. I'll do it for a little bit, though. I can't vibe with it, dude. I can't vibe with it, man. I'm not like, I don't know. I need to get good with in my mind. I just don't have it in me to the swap yet. You can get mad damage really quick. I know, and the range is ridiculous on it too. Oh man, I just can't. I literally just cannot. Rip. Shoot, dude. I gotta play good. I want to get a win. I'm so pissed we lost that 1v1 at the end there. That really sucks. How's my day going? Yo, Ryan, it's going pretty good, bro. It's going pretty good so far. We're doing a really early morning stream, which I usually don't do. It's not that hard, man. I know. I just don't have it, like... I'm not used to, like, swap, like, in the middle of gunfights. Like, most of the time, I'm just focusing more on aiming and stuff, you know? It's the pump curse, man. You said to make it funny? Yeah, like, make Ninja's reaction funny. Like, you know how he's just sort of, like, you know, just nodding his head. Like, if you can edit that into, like, a funny short Twitter video, that'd be awesome. Like, obviously something that when he watches it, he won't get triggered, but, like, he'll think it's funny. Like, not trying to make him look bad, but then, like, edit in. So, like, the way I kind of pictured it looking, like, if I were to edit it, I would show my POV first of me killing Ninja. And then right after I kill him, I would cut to his POV, show his POV and his reaction, and then I would cut back to my clip of it, of when I realize and you guys tell me, oh, that was actually Ninja, and I'm like, wait, no way. And then I would just cut it right there. That's all. That's all you need. And then maybe cut back again to Ninja's reaction, like, you know, something like that. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up at this point. I want to donate, but broke. Allie, no worries. No worries. Teacher found my phone, so now I'm on the school computer. Damn, Trinity's watching the stream no matter what. Ah, man. All right. Cut. Yeah. You know how to make stuff funny, though, Bear. You've edited some funny stuff before, so I trust you. I trust you. If you don't mind. The last Twitter video you made, hey, it got some good juice, you know? Got 1,000 likes. Not that many retweets, but it got a lot of likes, so. I make bangers only, that's a fact. It's just a fact. See, I'm not a big fan of hearing all these shotguns everywhere. You not, bro. Chest up here. Definitely take that, I guess. Even though I hate the burst so much. I'll go for this guy. I'm dead. What the hell is happening? Oh my god, dude. It's so... Oh, this game is so aggravating sometimes, man. Hi, Dad, can I get some money for ice cream? No, sorry, bro. I'm broke. Heat makes things expand, so I don't have a weight problem. I'm just hot. That's funny. Dude, Painkiller always comes in with, like, these funny, like, weird messages that, like, completely taken out of context are just so weird. Yo, Soulless Cat. Sup, bro? Yo, thank you so much for the $2 donation, Soulless Cat. Let's get some cat spam in the chat. Appreciate the love, man. Appreciate the support. What's up, Paul? What's up, Zach? What's up, Swagger? This is your first stream? Hey, the only King Wolf. Welcome to the stream, buddy. Appreciate you coming in, man. Appreciate you coming in. I don't know why, bro, but, like, I have to do something different in the morning. Like, these early morning streams, like, they suck. Like, these are just really, like, I enjoy playing Fortnite, obviously, but, like, I think this is just too early for me. Like, I've accustomed myself, like, not waking up this early, to like function, but I'm just so used to streaming later that I think I'm just in a better mood later. Like I take a long time to like, not like I'm always in a good mood, but like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's rough. What's up, Saggy boy? Try vaping? Nah, dude. I need to get more amped up. I'm like not awake. Like I feel too like, you know. I'm just more accustomed to streaming. I'm gonna go tilt the towers one more time. I'm just so accustomed to streaming at night that I think I have more like energy. I have more adrenaline. I have more adrenaline when I'm tired, which doesn't really make any sense at all. You don't know what I'm saying? I'm just not a morning person, I think. I think is really what I'm trying to get at here. I start to function and get more done later in the day. Like after I've been up for a while. That's when I really start to feel a drive to like get stuff done. Like I don't feel natural motivation to get a lot of work done early in the morning. Like my dad is totally like that. I'm just not like that at all. You kidding me, bro?
12:50. What are you complaining about? Lol, 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 lol.
I'm not gonna give him the satisfaction of killing me. I'm just gonna leave. Is that my new house? Yeah, I'm in my new apartment, man. Just not gonna give him the satisfaction of killing me. I'm just gonna jump right off the edge. Enable flip coin for 5 minutes? No, I'm not gonna do that. The crossbow is terrible? Yeah, the crossbow's not too great. I mean, it's fun. I've used it a couple times. What's up, Brandon Nugan? No, Brandon Wen, right? Wen. Or Win? Brandon Wen, right? I think it's Win. Like W-I-N. Right? Because I remember people spamming that in the chat. Last time after you donated or after you sponsored. What is Flipcoin? It basically allows people to like just gamble their coins, essentially. Sup, hope you read this. What's up, Peptic? What's up, Wilson Form? Stay away from Flipcoin. Stay away from Flipcoin, man. All right, we're not going Tilted Towers anymore. We just got to land somewhere else. Soulless Cat comes in with a $2 and says it's $12.50. What are you complaining about? LOL. I know it's $12.50, man. I don't know. I'm more energetic later in the day is what I'm trying to say. So I just don't really... These early morning streams for me are just not cool. Like, they're just not cool. Like, I can record and, like, edit early in the morning. But, like, I need to be in a very certain mindset to, like, be hyped to stream. And I was excited to stream this morning, but... I don't know. I've done these early morning streams a couple times. I just feel... There's just something about me that just doesn't feel, like, ready yet. You know? I don't know what it is. Like, I gotta go through, like, a ritual or something. And I think it's literally just time. Like, I just gotta wake up. I gotta do some stuff, but not, like, actually stream. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's just me. Hey, what's up, Martin? How you doing today, buddy? Martin Baca. The sponsor hype. Alright, good. We're in, like, a terrible... I'm just gonna go to Anarchy. Henis, remember the day you dropped the F-bomb 3 times on stream? Bro, those were bad days. Those were all accidents, too. Like, I would never do that on purpose. I subscribed. Thank you, your boy Chance. Appreciate it, man. We get it. You're not a morning person? Sorry if I'm annoying you, bro. That's all I'm saying. People kept talking about it. I'll stop talking about it then. God. Hey, yo, what's up, Cozy? Welcome to the stream, man. All right, this guy's got no skin. That means he's going to be terrible, right? Means he's going to be absolute trash. Got a chest in here. I grab something good here. He went inside. Now we're going to get in here. Open up this chest. We're going to get a scar. We're going to get another potion. We're already balling. Damn, we're already banging, dude. I'm doing great. What about you? I'm doing pretty good. I subbed and turned on notifications. Yo, McStabosaurus. Thank you so much for that support. Welcome to the stream. But Henis, I've been here before. I know you have, bro. Where are these guys, man?
You got this one. Get it?
What? I don't think this guy's very good. I'm dead. Henis. Oh my god, bro. This kid. Dude. Bill Foster, thank you so much for the 2, man. He says, you got this one, get it? Yeah, I got this one. I got the, yeah, I get it, man. It's very clever. Bro, that's so frustrating. Like, how many shots? Okay. We're all right. We're all good. We are all good. I thought drinking GFuel would help me this morning. Maybe you should become a musician. They sleep all day too. See, Painkiller always comes in with the puns, but I don't get the joke there. If that's supposed to be like a pun or something. Man, Henis, I know, dude. I'm out here slacking. Yo, guys, thank you so much for 300 likes in the stream. I appreciate it. Hey, yo, what's up, Maddie? Welcome to the stream. Henis, have you seen Peanut Man on the stream? He's watched for about 264 hours, dude. I am well aware of who Peanut Man is, alright? He comes into my stream every day and roasts me, okay? The only thing he ever types in the chat is hype every 10 minutes so he can collect his coins. And then he types lol, LMFAO, and you suck when I die, alright? He's like the ultimate prankster. He's here every day just to crap on me. Every day. But I love him for it. He's a great guy. But he literally... Hold on. I'm going to see exactly how many coins he has in the stream, alright? Refresh. Peanut Man has 27,000 coins in the stream. 27,000. Like, think about that. We're going to go to Fatal Fields. So that's 27,000 minutes because he hasn't spent a single coin. What's 27,000 divided by 60? Anybody know how to do that off the top of their head? $27,000. Hold on. We're going to figure this out right here. 27,000 divided by 60. So that's 450 hours. 450 hours in the stream. Divide that by 24. That's like watching my stream for 18 and 3/4 days. So almost 19 days. It'd be like watching my content for 19 days straight. Like, it's a miracle this dude's like, he's still alive. Like, gotta be freaking kidding me, dude. You've gotta be kidding me. I love this game. Fair and balanced. Here we go. Alright, we're getting the dub right here. What is that, man? Oh, jeez. Oh, God. I would die if I watched ProHenis for 19 days without any breaks. I probably would, too. I don't think I could watch myself for 19 days straight. I don't think I have it in me. I don't think I have it in myself to watch myself for that long. What's up, Nada? How you doing today? That's what you get for talking trash. Alright. Ooh. What do we got going on over here? I'm not risking a shot. I'm gonna boogie bomb him. I ain't trying to die right now. Okay. Whoa. What's up, Noel? How you did today, Vision? Tips for Fortnite? If you're looking to get better at the game, honestly, my biggest tip would be, like, when you're just starting out, throw yourself into as many gunfights as possible. And when you're just starting out, you're going to lose the majority of them. But chances are you're going to get better. And as you get better, you'll just learn how to build better. You'll learn how to engage yourself in gunfights. You'll learn the advantage of getting the high ground, stuff like that. Alright. Let's take this crossbow. Where are we looking? Is there seriously nobody else here? Alright. Get the move on. Get the move on out of here. Can you get a shot with the crossbow? I mean, I'll do my best, man. I'll try. I got a couple kills with it the other game when I was playing. It was when we were at Tilted Towers. I ended up getting like 3 kills with it or something like that. 2 or 3 kills. It's pretty nice. Pretty nice. It's cool in this new shooting test too. Because there's no bloom. So I feel like the hip fire accuracy is a little bit better. Because the spread isn't too bad. Henis sucks, yo. Listen, Dimitri. I know you're just saying that, bro. That's just misdirected anger. I know you don't really mean that. What's up, Peptic Creator? I mean it, bro. Oh, okay. I'm sorry you feel that way. Wow. Holy Jesus, that scared the living crap out of me, dude. I'm alright, though. I was going to super chat, but I have no money left, so I'm just going to watch the stream. Hey, man. I appreciate that. I did not think. What's my favorite gun in Fortnite? Gotta be the sniper, man. Hello, just seen you through chain feeds, I believe, just from stopping by, seen you come through chain feeds, I believe. I'm just stopping by for the first time to your channel. Hey, just happy. I appreciate that. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I've raided chain a couple times. Well, now obviously we're in the same team. But I'm trying to think of like where you would know me from. Did he? I don't know if he mentioned my name or something or what. God damn it, dude! I really wanted to get a shot on that guy. That would have been so funny. Would have been awesome. Yo, if you guys are enjoying the stream, make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe if you're new. Yo, Bear, did you say anything about getting that clip done? I don't know if you have it done yet or not. I kind of wanted to see how that gunfight played out. Watch, the kid who I was ADSing on with my crossbow, bet he's an absolute god. He would have turned up as soon as he started getting shot at. More tips? Get really good at building. That's not a big tip. I'm going to go back to Salty. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go to retail, man. I haven't gone to retail in a long time. You should play with me. I'll carry you. Dimitri, I want you to go ahead and tweet me your best play in Fortnite, alright, man? And if you're as good as you claim you are. Because I bet you're trash. Just kidding. I bet you're a really, really good player who's not just lying to me right now.
This is a Chucky Beat production.
You da best. You da best.
Woo. What's up, Zane? What's up, gamer Alex? Oh, God. Okay, we're okay. Everybody relax. I don't know why you guys just all screamed right there. Hey, listen, man. Yikes. Kinda wish I had that slurp juice right about now. Do I prefer solo? Yeah, I prefer solo for the most part, man. I'm just more of a solo player. I saw that thing you just put in the Discord there. So weak. Thank you. Really wish I didn't have to lose that health. Pick up the minigun? Yeah, I'm gonna take the minigun. There's minis in the basement? Oh, that's true. There are minis in the basement. Oh, no. How many did I drop? Because I think oh, no. I only took one, so I think there might be two. Thank you for reminding me. I'm about to do that. Alright, what are we taking here? I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take that. Okay. And it was in the basement of this house, right? Yeah, yeah. Were there minis down here? Oh, no, I think we drank them all, man. No, I'm pretty sure we drank them all. Yeah. Because I remember picking them up. But I remember we didn't drink two like we usually do. Because, we didn't drink two like we usually do because we didn't, we already drank the slurp. Jesus, man. Am I just gonna keep running back into this house to heal? Like, my lord. I don't really know what my grand plan is here. Brandon, I think I thanked you for that $2 super chat, brother. What's up, Kevin? Got a sniper. GG's, man. Jesus, bro. This gameplay so far, man, we've been like, we're just getting annihilated. I don't think this guy really had anything for us either. Yeah, he didn't. We don't have any good ways to heal up right now. I don't know if there's any more people around here, though. Checking here. Use the crossbow? If I get in a position where I can use the crossbow, man, I'll definitely use it for you guys, alright? Promise. But, like, I'm really trying to get a win today, too. Because I haven't won a game yet. Been struggling today. Already got 6 kills, though. That's somebody else's footsteps, I heard? This ammo that's over here. I have to use the bathroom so bad right now. It's not even funny. Can you hold the crossbow? Yeah, I'm holding it right now. That was just a scoped AR. We don't want that. How do I make coins? You guys earn coins simply by watching the stream. Simply by watching the stream, which is pretty dope. How about Flapper? It's hilarious. They're also adding a whip Nene emote. Oh god, are they really? That one's. I feel like that one actually might be pretty good. So far, they've been pretty good with the emotes that they've added. They've been pretty creative so far. Right in that corner. Here we go. That's exactly what we needed. Just imagine. I think we're dropping it, guys. I don't think we're taking it from here on out. Did he have a scar? Why do I remember seeing a scar from this guy? I don't know. Here we go, guys. Here we go. Where? I don't know where he went. He's got to come to us, though. We should just run. How far do we have to go? Not too far. We know this guy's a bush, so... Honestly, like, how scared should we be? You know what I'm saying? Hoping I don't have to engage with that guy. We've already got 9 kills, 15 people left. What's up, Twister? What's up, Trenton? Yo, if you guys are new to the stream, make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe if you have not done so already. I'm starting to feel it now, Mr. Krabs. I'm starting to warm up a little bit. He's dead. If only this giant tree wasn't in the way. That's a... I hate, honestly, I think it's so stupid when people do that. I can't see this guy. It's so hard looking into the storm. What is that noise? You guys hear that vibrating? Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I know you're just trying to have fun right now. But I'm really just trying to go for a win, so... Please don't take this personally. Do you guys hear that? Holy sweet Mother Mary, that was annoying. Thought I heard another guy. Am I gonna be streaming later tonight? Yeah, I will, bro. I'm dead. Come on, dude. GG's to that guy. He was really weak too. RIP, man. RIP. Had he found it yet? You missed a crossbow? No, I've already used the crossbow a couple times, guys. I've already used it to get a couple of kills. What's up, Black Star Unicorn? Come on, man. My name is Henis. All right, yo, I'm going to go use the bathroom real quick, guys. We're going to go ahead and start up another game. We're starting to get warmed up here. We're going to be doing good. We're going to win a game here very, very soon. Make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe if you're new. I'll be right back. Hey, what's up, guys? Back, everybody. No need to worry. I don't know how/why. That almost fooled me into being a person. I don't even know how I'm still alive. Exactly the type of loot lag I'm talking about, man. Come on, Fortnite. What are coins used for? You guys can use coins to redeem items from the loyalty shop or to enter into giveaways that I do at the end of every single month on my channel. I gotta start looting material. I legit don't have anything right now. Watch this be my first victory today, man. I didn't miss any donos. All right, we're good. The crossbow is easy to find. Yeah, they made the crossbow pretty common, which is kind of nice, to be honest. I wonder if they kind of did that on purpose, because I know that minigun was a little bit harder to find, but like the crossbow, I've found in pretty much every game I've played. How do you get coins? You guys earn coins simply by watching the stream. I don't even really know where to head right now. We have no heals. Just rocking with this AR. I like the crossbow. Dismo? Yo, what's up, bud? Oh, dude right over here. I'm coming through the window, by the window. Oh, are we doing this, brother? Oh, are we doing this, brother? Oh, are we doing this, my man? Oh, oh. Ooh. What's up, Zaguma? Yo, how you doing today, brother? Okay, chat. All right, Dismo, I'm winning this game for you, bro. All right. Dismo, I want you to know this game. The Crackle is back. I assume you know. Now, people were telling me actually earlier. Somebody said that the Crackle wasn't there. It's so weird, dude. Like, you know what's even. I have the glitch again. I can't ADS. Can't ADS or anything. There we go. God, that's super annoying, bro. Duo crossbow only win. I think we can do it. If you're down, cutie. Yo. I mean, we could try, for sure. I told Ocean I would play too, so we could try to do it in squads. Almost done editing? Alright, good, Bear. Good, good, good. Yo, I hope it's... damn, you're actually spending some time on this. Yo, Dismo, I'm assuming you saw the... what? Yeah. Bro. The fact that Ninja and I ran into each other like less than 12 hours is just funny. How can I make money from streaming? You make money off of ad revenue. Ads that get placed next to your content on YouTube. And you make money off of donations too, if you accept donations. He looked AFK though? Yeah, I know. I didn't even realize it was him, but that's just funny. It's just funny. His reaction on the stream was just priceless. Here we go. Shield. Okay. Shield. You know what? I'll definitely take that. What's up, Trent? What's up, Benny? Welcome to the stream. Hopefully you guys are having a fantastic day. Oh, what is this we have here? Oh, ho, ho. I had to search a lot for one clip. Oh, okay. Gotcha, gotcha. I'm sure it'll be good, Bear. You're a good editor. I'm going to commission you to do all the edits for my streams from now on. Oh, hello there. No, I was thinking we could get an RPG shot from there. What did I drop? I dropped nades, that's right. We don't really need nades though when you think about it. Try to go and get this guy, I guess. To be way, 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 way over here. I gotta get smoother with that. Quickly looting stuff. What do I use for streaming? I use OBS, man. There we go. What does switching weapons back and forth do? It doesn't do anything, man. It's just for me to keep my fingers loose. Just stay moving. That's really the only thing. So when I do stuff like this, that's just me staying loose. You know, if I just keep my fingers still, like I kind of get static. I kind of get stagnant. I don't know. Just staying in constant motion just helps me stay loose. Dude's probably still moving, I guess. What's up, Blaze? Hey, buddy. What's up, Danny? Only 1 kill so far. I feel terrible for that. Like, I legit just feel gross. That was really disorienting. How did I start streaming? Just, I was watching Syndicate Project. Started watching him. Damn, you're around here, right? There he is. Huh. Hello. Yikes. Whoa, wait a minute. Okay. Ninja's daddy? Ninja is daddy, dude. Okay. We're alright for right now. Oh, I'm almost maxed out on wood. God, that's such an amazing feeling. Okay. Remember, Dismo, I'm winning this for you. What's my best game ever? I don't even know, to be honest with you. I think it's like 16, 17 kills. Solo. It's nothing crazy. I gotta get smoother with my gunfights for sure. Like, smoother with building in gunfights. He had a crossbow? I know, guys. I know. But I'm just really trying to get the W right now. I've already gotten a few kills with the crossbow. You gotta be kidding me. This kid, man. He's not even in the safe zone, I don't think. He's not even in the safe zone. He's an idiot. Wonder why he even did that. You guys think there's still somebody in here? Damn. Lots of building went on over here. The only thing that really sucks about swapping your weapons all the time is that sometimes you just get caught red-handed. Not get caught red-handed, but get caught with your pants down, so to speak. Like somebody runs up on you that you're not expecting. You know. How do you use coins? You can use coins to enter into giveaways that I do at the end of every month. That's what most people use them for. I hear like a supply drop or something. Go over here and grab this guy's loot. Oh, I just landed right on the other side. Okay. Got it. You've got to be kidding me, bro. Oh, man. What rarity is the crossbow coming? I'm pretty sure rare and just legendary. No. Rare and epic. Rare and epic. So blue and purple. I'm pretty sure. Sent? Alright. Let's see this. Tell me if there's anything you want changed. Alright. Now I'm gonna take a look at this clip here, guys. Let's see what Bear sent us. Alright, something's glitching out here. Here we go. Let's take a look at this clip here.
This is a Chucky Beat production.
Look at his face, bro.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
This is a Chucky Beat
I've come to talk with you again.
Bro, you just killed Ninja? No, that wasn't Ninja. Wait. No way. Stop. You're definitely messing with me, guys. You are so messing with me, chat. I pickaxe Ninja? That just makes me feel bad, bro.
Same, dude.
LMAO, same, dude. Oh, damn. Okay. Yo, same, bro. That's funny, dude. That's funny. Yo, we're definitely tweeting that out. Alright, now one of them's moving. I think they're both coming down now. Yeah, they're both coming in now. Shoot, I thought they were both going to be AFK. Same, dude. That's funny. That's funny. That's funny, though, Bear. That was good. That's good. That's good editing. I'm happy. Bro, we shot him twice. Bro, we shot him twice. I don't... Alright, let's take a second to tweet out this video. Alright, chat, how do we caption this?
This is a Chucky Beat production. This is a Chucky Beat production.
That just makes me... All right. It's about to go live on my Twitter, guys. Get ready to go over to my Twitter, retweet, like the tweet, drop a like on it. We tag Ninja again. You good? What's up, Wilson Ford? How you doing today, man? Henis, just end the stream, bro. You should stress. Nah, I'm just messing. I'm just messing, man. That's just bad luck there. That's just bad luck. Yo, 400 likes in the stream. I do appreciate that, guys. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you guys subscribe. I'm waiting for the tweet to go out. It's gonna take a little bit to tweet, just because I'm streaming. And it was a pretty decently sized video. Yeah, still sending the tweet. We'll stay right on the screen for right now. Whoa. Are you stressing or just messing? I'm just messing, man. I'm just messing. It's not serious. It's not serious rage right now. This is just me. Like, this is just fun. Like, we're just playing Fortnite, bro. Like, how stressed can I really get? You know. I would donate, but I don't have money right now. Hey, Everett, no worries, man. I've watched almost all your streams. Appreciate it, Pixel. Yikes. Yo, the tweet just went out, everybody. Yo, go like, retweet that tweet, guys. Everybody go like and retweet that tweet on Twitter. Again. It's funny, bro. It's funny. I'm not gonna apply. I was thinking about it. Not gonna do it. He's going out. He's trying to break out. course there's a dude just chilling right there, man. Is CROSSBOW good? It's alright, man. It's alright. It's nothing special. Nothing special, man. Alright, let's go see how this tweet's doing. Yo, guys, the tweet's out on Twitter. Everybody go like and retweet the tweet, all right? Now I just feel bad, bro. What are the chances? LOL. I tagged Ninja, all right, guys? Everybody go like and retweet that tweet. I'm going to go ahead and post it in the chat, actually. Go and post it in the chat. Everybody go like this tweet, all right? It's right at my Twitter. My Twitter is at ProHenis. Go like, retweet it, respond to it, all right? All that good stuff. I would appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Thank you in advance. And now we're done cloud chasing. We're done cloud chasing. Have I gotten the minigun? Yeah, I've gotten the minigun before, man. What's up, Brandon? Yo, the reason that tweet got half as much juice as it did was because Kenny retweeted it. 100%. 100% is because he retweeted it. Alright, let's win a game today, man. I'm going Tilted Towers again, bro. Like, Tilted Towers is too much fun to go to be honest with you. Alright, now I'm done clout chasing, guys. How long would I say my regular streams are? Usually around 3 or 4 hours or so. I'll do usually 2 or 3 hour streams and then, or excuse me, 3 or 4 hour streams, and I'll also do an upload. I'm not gonna upload today though, just because of this new update that dropped. But I'm gonna have an update for you guys tomorrow for sure. I love landing here, to be honest. What's up, Frederick? Oh boy, oh boy. I really want to get a win here, guys, so like excuse me if I'm just like concentrating really hard and not talking, because we have been slacking all freaking day, dude. I'm stuck. He's right beneath me. Literally right beneath me. Bro, how many Twitch streamers are we gonna get killed by, man? Jesus. What's up, Fireball? What's up, Respect? God, is Tilted Towers just not the way in this game? Henis, if you read this, I'll donate. Henis, if you win this round, I'll donate $500. Never mind, yeah. Not winning that ground. Not winning that. What's up, sub to me, please? How you doing today, Garrett? I'm gonna be like on my phone all day, hoping that he responds. All I really want, dude, is just if he followed me back, that'd be so sick. If he followed me back, I'd be like, all right. You got this, dude? Yeah, we're just not gonna go tilted anymore. We're gonna go retail. No, I really don't like retail. I actually, yes, I do. I'm not gonna lie, I like retail. At least a shout out. Yo, Jaden, J-Dank. What's up, man? Yo, Respect Productions keep calling me handsome in the chat. I don't know how to feel about that. Alright. Thought I was bleeding or something. Jesus, bro. I can't land in time anywhere. I'm horrible with landing.
This is a Chucky Beat production.
I can't. Oh, I can't, man. I can't anymore with life. I can't anymore with life, man. I just can't. Bro, I literally, every time I land, I'm just dead. I just die. I just die. Hi, Avery. Just watching your stream. My name's not Avery. That was KP, bro. Don't worry about it. Who's KP? Oh, yo, Avery. What's up, man? I read your message. I should have put two and two together there for a second. Bro, like we land and we die. We land and we die. Oh, man. Yo, but what's up, Avery? Welcome to the stream, bro. CROSSBOW's complete booty cheeks. Am I right? He was a pro, I think, in H1. I play with him often. Oh, okay. Cool, cool. I thought the name, now that you mention it, the name does sound kind of familiar. Go to Shifty Shafts. Have you gone there recently? I don't really like Shifty Shafts, man. I mean, it's all right. I just really won't usually go there. Yo, Avery, I don't know if you saw my tweet from yesterday, bro. But Ninja ended up killing me in a fight. We ended up in the same match. He killed me, and I had like the biggest nerdgasm moment ever. So I tweeted out the video and was like, GG at Ninja. And he replied to it, and he was like, GG's, brother. Which like made me even nerd even more. So when I woke up and I saw his response, I like freaked out. And then today, like literally first game on, I landed Tilted Towers. And I kill him, not realizing it. Then my chat's like freaking out saying, you killed Ninja. I was like, wait, what? Love every single one of your videos, no homo. Thank you, man. Can Henis and Avery do duos? I don't know if he's on right now, but if he is, I'm down. 100%. What's up, Mason? I hate to say this, but I kind of feel like a pimp when kids go trick-or-treating. What the hell, dude? What's up, Zachary? What's up, Chain Kills? I think Avery just got done streaming, though. Hold on, I need to make sure. Okay, no, that's all set. Come on. Dude, I'm not paying enough attention to my landing, and I think that's really honestly what's screwing me up in so many of these games. I'm like legit, I'm just not landing properly. I'm landing way too late at a lot of these places. If I was landing a lot sooner, I could have like a much better shot at like winning a lot of these games. Or at least just getting off to a better start. Oh, of course. Come back with my loot. Yo, bro, Painkiller's just too much for me to handle, man. I can't handle this guy. I think there was a guy that went over to this house, right? See if he's still there. Loot Lake is a pretty good spot to land. Yeah, Loot Lake isn't too bad. Hey, can you not, bro? Like, listen, man. You just went out back. hell? Okay. I'm already dead, bro. KP, bro, what are the chances? The same dude, man. Like, bruh. Wow. He just danced on me, man. Dang. Yo, what's this dude's Twitter? I'm gonna go tweet at him and say, why you gotta dance on me like that? Why you gotta dance on me like that, man?
TJG enters the room, drops a like, smirks at Henis,
This dude again?
and then exits the room.
Same guy? The same goddamn guy?
TJG is at work.
Yo, TJG, I see you, bro. I see you, man. I see you. He danced on me because he knew I was watching. He knew he saw me still watching. He was like, Yo, TJG, by the way, man, I said I would hit you with a mod if Ninja responded, bro. So, hey, I gotta be a man of my word here. Yo, TJG, hit you with that mod, brother. I said I would do it, right? You gave me the response I tweeted at Ninja, and he ended up responding to me, so it had to happen. What up, dog? Yo, what's up, Jasper? How you doing today? I edited the video and I didn't get mod? Come on, Bear. Come on, man. KP5. Dude, okay. It was a KP5 IV, right? Hold on. Do I follow him? KP5 IVE. Here he is. This dude. Dance on me, SMH. GG. Word, man, word. But yo, appreciate the 5 too, TJG. Appreciate it, man. You're an absolute legend. What's up, Alexander? Henis, if I can get Ninja to play with you, will you mod me? Dude. I would be so much in Ninja's shadow, it wouldn't even be funny. Did I pick up that med kit? Dude, I just literally cannot. I literally just 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 cannot. With any gunfight today, I missed all my shots there. That was terrible. That was literally terrible. He had shield too, but damn, that was just bad. What's up, Just Sebastian? What's up, Fireball? Yeah, I'm probably gonna go in like a half hour, guys. In like a half hour, that'll probably be the end of the stream. We gotta get a win by that time, bro. Like seriously, seriously, get a win. I guess you're living in Tilted Towers now? Yeah, literally. Am I in high school? No, I'm 19, man. I'm not in college either. I'm a full-time YouTuber. Full-time YouTuber. Haven't played video games in 10 years, but I love the videos. Hey, appreciate it, Andrew. Appreciate it, man. When are the new skins coming out? I have no idea, because right now they haven't updated this at all, so just have to wait and see, I guess. You gotta play with Kenny? I don't even think he's awake yet. Kenny stays up pretty late. Yo, Samuel. Samuel Gustav. Yeah, I remember you, man. Go to Loot Lake, you probably won't die right off the bat. I just hate going to Loot Lake. It's called Loot Lake, but it's ironic because the loot there's awful. For the most part. You're the best streamer? Thank you, Greek. Nah, Kenny's not on. Alright, we're gonna go tilted. Again, what's up, Tristan? What's up, Lane? Alright, I'm gonna focus. I'm focusing real hard right now, guys. We're focusing real hard. Was that guy up in the roof the whole time when we were at Fatal there? Or Anarchy, whatever the hell that was? I've sub. Yo, thank you, Chiara. What's up, Seth? Gotta be kidding me, bro. Thank you, Lord. The hell, bro? I'm so weak right now. Not even funny. Huh. Dude, you gotta be kidding me. I shot first. I shot first. It's cool. I'm totally over it. That was cool. I'm over it, man. I am actually over it. We are good. I'm cool. Ba-ba-da-ba. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. You're the best YouTuber. Appreciate that, man. What's up, Slippery? Play with Mr. Beast? Yo, I don't think Mr. Beast is even on. Yeah, he is. He's online. I love the COD Zombie streams and watch for a super chat in 10 minutes. Yo, Jordy, come on. You don't gotta hit me with that. I do appreciate it, but you don't gotta hit me with that, man.
I got locked out of my own Discord. I couldn't find it.
No
What up, dude?
What's up?
No, Avery's in here. Says you're a cool dude.
Oh, hey, well, Avery's a nice guy. He's a cool dude, too.
Yeah.
I may have to restart my game because I don't see you. I don't even know. Did you accept?
Sorry, I had to throw the shade. I had to throw the dance.
No. I didn't even know if you recognized because you killed me literally in the game before, and I was like, what are the chances of that, dude?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like right before that in the game before.
I've killed a lot of people like same games recently. It's been weird. Like this one dude like chats like, this guy fucking stream sniper? I don't know. What's up, though, dude? Nice to meet you, man. Pleasure.
Nice to meet you too. So I hear so you used to be an H1 pro? Or are you
yeah, so I used to play H1Z1 and then I switched over to PUBG and then I got 2 resident sleeper for me, man. I took like a 6-month break. I didn't like stream or game at all, and then I just came back to. Today marks my 1 month back, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the grind must be real then, being an H1
dude,
pro.
It's been insane, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I went through a spell where I was like seriously into H1 for like probably a solid month or 2, and then yeah, and then you know it's H1, so it's kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I kind of gave up on H1 after like preseason 3. Preseason 3 was like my last like try-hard season where I did like got real T1 and everything, and then I was like, yep, no, I'm done. Can't do it anymore. This game is too broken. You want to hit up retail?
Let's do it.
Alright. Yeah, actually, I woke up this morning and I saw like your tweet. I guess like when Ninja killed you yesterday.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I know that name. Why do I know that name?
So
and I saw your Twitter. I was like, oh yeah, it's from your Twitter.
it's funny because I literally, so he killed me last night in that gunfight. I had no idea I was in this game, and then literally first game on today, I'm in the shooting test playlist. I'm letting it houses, by the way. Yeah, so I'm playing today. First game on, I go to Tilted Towers and I grab a pistol on the roof, and I start to pistol this dude that's just literally standing still because we were both fighting for the pistol, and then he just stood still, and I didn't even know it was Ninja at the time, so I just ended up pickaxing him because he was standing still. And so like I went to Ninja stream afterwards, and sure enough, it was him. The whole chat was like freaking out. It was like, you just pickaxe Ninja, and I didn't even pay attention to the name. It's like, what are the chances of that? We run into each other like back-to-back games.
I'm struggling over here so hard. I can't get up to this crate. There we go. I think I'm good.
I got a pistol and a sniper right now. That's it.
Yeah, we've so I've known Ninja for a while now, and we've always done. Let's see here. I think we fought each other twice so far in this game. And first time he sniped me, got a nice snipe on me. Second.
Yeah, building is like seriously key in this game. It's like what I'm always trying to practice.
Like it took me the longest time to learn.
Oh, there's a guy at this house that we were just at on the roof. Shoot, I'm all out of building material. On the roof, I think, or yep,
Yeah,
right there. Got him. No idea where the teammate is.
Damn, he took my shields down. I'm 45 HP. Rip the dream.
Oh, I got here. I'll just drop one maybe potion for you. Just dropped it over the edge.
Nice, dude. Turn you up in Discord when I have a second too.
Oh, coming from the east. Shield off, right by the electrical thing. Should be really weak. Nice. Yeah, that was him. Yeah, sorry, my mic's a little low. I use two PCs,
no, it's all
so I'm just using a headset mic right now. That's why it might sound a little crappy.
Gotcha.
Oh, another guy over here. Ah, shoot, I'm all out of building
left
material.
as
Yep.
Guys lit on there. Guy, you do that. Holy shit, you're a legend. My dude.
Oh,
Shit, right here. On the noms or whatever, this little gas station. He's got a pump.
I can't aim, bro.
You have this legend. Oh my god.
I got no HP right now. I'm just gonna try to revive you real quick. I don't see his teammate anywhere. Oh, his teammate's coming.
Yes, teammate's coming. We should be able to get it. I think his teammate's gonna go for the revive.
Hopefully he does.
I'm not peeking it.
Oh, I see him. That is nice.
Very nice. Here. Oh, you got shit. Look.
Yeah, I got bandages. I think there's another mini potion right over here too. Oh no, you got 50.
I just need minis off these guys, man. Holy cow. Please. I mean, bandages, not minis.
Oh, I got 12 bandages here for you.
Do you?
Yeah,
Beautiful.
You can take. Actually, no, I'll just drop you all of them if you need them.
I can stack them. I'll stack those minis too.
Beautiful. Let's see.
But yeah, so I just came back to like streaming and gaming and stuff, dude, and it's been a blast so far. I love this game.
It's on. Yeah.
I haven't had this much fun playing a game since like Z1 days.
Fortnite is literally. It's amazing how quickly this game just like took over everything.
And it blew up.
Yeah, it literally exploded. Like the developers are amazing. I just like the amount of time and
very
attention.
transparent.
Right, exactly. And that goes so far.
It does.
Goes
That's
so
one thing
far
that
with the
H1
community.
didn't do so
Right.
much this year. So.
And it's free to
really
play
screwed that
too.
one
They
up.
seem like they're investing literally everything into this game, which is amazing to see in a free to play game like this.
Well, didn't they? And then they canceled one of their
Yeah, they canceled
one of their games
Paragon
or whatever to like
yeah.
focus more on this, right?
I think so. I mean, I don't know how profitable a free to play game is, because it depends on how many V-Bucks people are buying.
Well, dude, I can only imagine how much money they're making off the microtransactions. Like,
Right.
they gotta be absolutely wrecking it right now. But yeah, and the thing about it too is like, so I had never really focused on, like back in the day when I played H1 and stuff, I really focused on just playing. There's a full potion right there. Go ahead and grab it. It's a full health.
Perfect.
I really just focused on playing the game and trying to be the best I could. I never really focused on trying to put like good content out there. I never really focused on like trying to create like a community or anything else like that. So like it kind of hurt me like switching games and shit. So
Right.
I was like, I'm taking a break. Let me figure out what I can do differently this time. Oh, there's a dude over by the electrical post, 2 guys.
Yep.
Saluted the crate. I was like, what can I do differently this time
Hit the guy on the
to
left.
create like a more appealing or
He's lit behind the tree, I think. All his shields off.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is that
shit.
a cyber?
He's building up. Building up to your right. I think he just tried to... crossbow
Yeah,
me. Yeah.
he's trying to crossbow me.
One last nade and a dream. Oh, that's gotta get him.
Got a 31 blue on him.
Yep.
You guys lit over here.
Got him.
Nice. Goodness.
Oh, there's a sniper over here if you want it.
Yeah, buddy. Got a soup as well. Look at that.
How do you feel about the burst in this game?
I'm sorry, say it one more time.
How do you feel about the burst in this game? The burst AR?
So I was interested to see how it would work when the like the first shot accuracy or whatever.
Oh, like the new
But
shooting
it's
test thing?
still, it's still just the first bullet. Yeah, the shooting test.
Right.
But I think it's just still the first bullet. I use the blue burst from time to time, but if I get a scar, I use the scar over the blue
Oh,
burst.
right, absolutely.
Mostly because, or mainly because I play super aggressive, and I need the like a fully automatic rifle to be able to like shoot bases
Right.
and break walls and stuff to like kind of apply pressure on them and whatnot.
Yeah, the only person who I've ever watched that I know is just obsessed with the burst is OP.
OP.
Yeah.
OP.
He just takes the
Good
blue
shit, dude.
burst every time. I don't see anybody right now.
Yeah, dude. I'm out. This.
Oh,
I
guy-
call this a field of dreams.
Guys
Yep,
straight in
same.
front of us, yeah.
Oh, I can't predict stupid, dude. Seems like a decent build.
Oh, there's a.
I know, that's-
Ooh. Okay,
I see
okay,
a
okay.
snipe. Okay, I see you, dude. I see you. Fucking young snipe down over here, dude.
Just gonna finish him off.
Trying to call back to this boy. Yeah, as I say, just full kill him.
I need a lot of building material too. Jesus. I don't have advantage on him at all. Oh wait, I just got. Oh, yeah. There's somebody behind us too trying to crossbow. I'm not gonna worry about him though.
Okay.
Just so you know though.
Yeah, get it.
He's got full shield. Oh god.
Oh my god, the nades. Holy shit.
Oh,
Grenade
I'm
from
lagging.
behind.
I'm lagging. Oh, there he is.
Oh, dude, the micro centers have been so bad.
Oh, his teammate sniped me. The dude's really weak though. The guy closest behind the brick. And then there's a guy on the ramp that you were on. Way back with a sniper.
So,
He's building a base right in front of you. Yeah, he's trying to snipe me. I'm just gonna back off. Obviously, there's nothing I can do. I got potions, so I should be good for the gunfight. Right above me. Okay. Yep, trying to break into me. He's gonna. Oh yeah,
oh my
damn.
god, dude. I can't do anything. Shit.
That's messed up. That is messed up. Broke through just to finish me off. SMH.
My bad. My bad. I try to get to you in time.
Nah, it's all good. All good. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the. I don't know if I noticed too much of a difference with the new shooting test either. Like if it's literally just first shot, like all the games that I've played, playing regular solos and then with the new shooting test, I don't really notice too much of a difference, to be honest.
Yeah, there's not too much. I mean, they're definitely like the bloom reset actually allows you to be able to obviously control the bloom and control your accuracy. Like,
Right.
Tap, 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 tap. The scars are absolutely nutty, especially up close. But I mean, even from afar, you're still, even if you get that first shot off, you get the distance fall off or whatever, the fall off damage.
Right. Yeah, and I hear that I haven't even tried out the scoped AR yet, but according to the patch notes yesterday, it's supposed to be like insane now. With the new in the I don't know if it's just in the new shooting test or what, but apparently they did something
The
to
new
it.
shooting test way.
With the scoped AR. Like apparently
Oh, it's so accurate.
Apparently it's like
It's a
Pretty
laser.
good.
Like it's spot on every shot. So I mean, like the damage isn't that good on it, but I mean, if you're looking to like if you're playing squads or dubs or whatever, when this LTM or like this new shooting patch comes out, that's a good gun just to apply pressure and just like rip shield.
yeah.
Alrighty, let's slay.
Let's get it. There's about half the server coming here.
Hell yeah, I like to hear. Bunch of laying on Trump Tower.
All right. Oh shoot, I missed it. Oh damn, you're already down to this guy. Oh shoot, this is his teammate. All right, I'm just gonna ignore you, bro. Right by him.
One shot.
I don't have a weapon yet.
There's a pump shotty right here for you if you want it.
Beautiful.
We got him. We started off good, coach. Let's do it.
How many kills you got right now?
3.
Oh,
Right in
okay.
front of me.
I hear him coming to you.
4. Inside Trump Tower, multiples.
Yep, we're down here, first floor.
Okay, give me un momento. Where at?
I think he's right through this door right here. Oh no, they're throwing down. They're upstairs.
Another one.
Trying to break in.
I just killed 2.
Okay, I'm upstairs right now. Grab this loot here.
Oh shit! You scared me, bro. My bad. Oh yeah. By the way, too, do you have like a PG audience, or do you run like a non-cursing stream or anything? I just gotta make myself aware.
Yeah, no, I personally don't curse. Yeah.
Okay. I watch. Sometimes I can be very very toxic.
Very vocal. That's
at
fun.
times.
That's fun. That's fun.
Sounds like fun. Oh no! Wait for me!
I don't know.
We're coming to play, boys.
There's a lot going on. Oh, right down here. Pushing up on him. Got one. I don't know. I thought I saw one right there. No.
Bad.
Right there.
Body block. Yeah.
There's a lot going on in here. Got him.
Nice.
Can't tell if these guys are upstairs or downstairs or what. I'm just gonna go for it.
You're back.
Oh,
They're above us, I think. I'm almost positive.
we're gonna get this chest right here. Yeah. You gotta be above us.
There's a dude down low as well.
I'm gonna slurp this real quick and try to get on the roof.
Might come to get them. Oh man, I'm stuck. Help! There we go.
I'm up on the roof. Damn, I just hear tons of footsteps. There's loot everywhere. I don't see anybody though.
We're good. We finally made it up there. We finally made it up. We're good. I don't know.
Maybe that was just your footsteps I'm hearing. I don't know. Oh shoot. Oh, another team running up on you behind you. Got him.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's get it. That's teamwork right there.
Yeah,
Elegance.
it is, dude.
Elegance. Grab that
Alright.
actually.
We got 11 kills already. Let's get it.
Damn, you got 8 kills already? Jesus.
Yeah, let's do it,
What
bro.
the hell? Alright,
love
I
this game.
see you. I
This
see
game
you.
is so good.
No wonder I died to you so many times.
So like my next challenge now is basically I've been inspired by a couple of my buddies, you know, by like Thieves, Dixon, and Avery. I see them put out like a bunch of YouTube stuff, so like I'm trying to teach myself that now. Cause like that's something I never did. So that's kind of something I've gotten interested in. You should have seen me try to make my first thumbnail. That shit.
Making thumbnails for me is honestly, I almost enjoy that more than actually making content.
The whole editing process, that's another
Yeah.
we'll talk about that later. Can't tell there's guys in there or not. I don't know. Move.
I don't know if there's anybody in here. These doors are all open. We're checking to see if there's a chest back here actually. But no, yeah, getting into content creation is honestly, like, that's one of the most important things I think for like, it goes so far with pro
Expanding
players.
growth.
Yeah. Like once you build that personality, like you were saying, and then you can just do, then you can do any game you want, right? Like that's sort of the end goal.
Exactly, yeah. You just gotta build the personality.
Right.
You're, especially, I mean, within games on this genre,
Right.
once you kind of acquire an audience for this genre. Like, see, I screwed up. I used to be like a 2K viewer streamer, whatever, with Pokemon Go. It's where I actually originally got partnered on Twitch.
Really?
And blew up with Pokemon Go, yeah.
Damn.
And so I had acquired a really good audience for a while, but it wasn't for the right genre of game. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Right.
That came as a challenge.
Yeah, I think that's something that sort of every content creator struggles with, because I started out with COD and like did COD for 3 years and then switched over to zombies, and that was a weird transition, but I did that and it did wonders for my channel, and now I'm sort of in this weird transition between like zombies and Fortnite, where I'm really trying to do well in Fortnite.
Yeah. I mean, it takes time. Like Avery's
Right.
doing really, because like Avery came from zombies, right?
Right,
And now
yeah.
He's doing really well.
I mean, he
with Fortnite,
exploded.
too,
Yeah,
so.
he hopped on the Fortnite train a lot earlier than I did, which was a smart move that I just didn't see.
Yeah, see,
then-
exactly. I mean, that's something I didn't realize too. I played it. Like, it was like it was probably out for a month, and I had played a couple hours of it, and I was like, yeah, this game's like too cartoony for me. I don't like it.
Right.
It's like my like 5 month, 6 month break or whatever. I came back. I'm like, well, I'm super late, but I actually love this game now.
Yeah.
This is super fun, you know. So
It's the fast-paced nature of this game that for me
Yep.
just outshines every other battle royale.
yes, I would agree. Honestly, this is the best battle royale I've played. I will give it that. Did I not pick up? I thought I said I picked up a soup this game. Maybe it was last game.
A soup?
A swoop, jump pad.
Oh, okay. You know, I got a jump
Soup.
pad. I got one.
Oh, did you? Okay. They're breaking down trees east, the big forest. It's
I
crazy
think
how
it's
far
on.
away you can actually see
Oh,
those
I see a
trees
guy.
going down.
Oh, no, I missed him. He's right. Yep. I think he's going to be right by that brick hut. Yep, running towards
Oh,
you.
yeah, I see him.
Shoot.
Two of them. One on the right, one on the left.
Yep, yep, yep. I'm trying to get up on the hut right next to you. Where are we at? Where are we at? Ooh, okay, okay.
Sniper on the left, right?
Yeah. I don't know if the guy on the right has one too, but
I'm nading the right.
okay. Shoot. Oh, shoot, I'm getting shot. Oh,
Go for the bush.
yep, drop, drop, drop. Drop straight in front. Yep. All right, I'm pushing with you. Behind you.
Knocked him.
By the tree, by the tree. Got him.
Nice. Good shit.
Oh, golden scar, actually. You can take this because you killed that guy.
You need that bolt or not?
No, I got one.
Very nice, very nice. I have a campfire too if you need it. You want to hold on to it, we can hold on to it.
Yeah, we might as well just hold on to it. I'm not too low. Save it for more desperate times. Damn, somebody destroyed Dusty Depot. What the hell?
Oh my god. Be nice. On the platform.
Oh, yeah, right up top. Shoot. Ah, shoot. Yeah, I'm getting lit up. I'm down. He's running around to me. He's on my body. They're coming for you, I think. Both of them. Yo, yeah, it's Lions. Thank you so much for the $2 dono, man. I appreciate that. Let's get some Lion hype in the chat. Sorry, I was in the middle of that gunfight, brother. But I appreciate your dono for real. Get some Lion hype. Keep it up. Thank you, man.
No!
Dang.
Fucking choke. Damn.
I didn't even hear those guys at all.
Yeah, like I just heard like footsteps on the metal, like on the metal bricks or whatever. Not the metal bricks, but the metal platforms. I was like, oh god, behind us.
Yeah, footsteps are so weird in this game, especially when you're like horizontal, like
Well,
when you're on the
trying
same
to tell
level.
where they are.
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
when you're in like tilted
That's the
towers.
hardest part.
Judging it like, yeah, whether they're above you or below
They're
you.
below you, above
Right.
you.
Whenever
Yeah,
I
I think that's. I'm pretty sure that's something that they can work on and fix though in the future.
yeah, when I complain about that to my stream, they're like, "What are you talking about?" Nobody in my stream gets it. I'm like, come on, guys, come on.
I played that one wrong. I knocked the one guy, and I was like 60 health or something, and I jumped off on him going for the double pump. I should have just built and shot down on him. You live and you learn. That would have been 10 kills, and I would have got the res.
What's your most kills solo?
I think 19, if I can remember correctly. 18 or 19.
Yeah, I think mine's 16. Nothing crazy,
Is
but
it? Nice.
I really want to try to
I
get.
caught a couple. I actually just hit 100 wins, or like 101 wins today.
Oh,
So,
really? I heard
first month
like
I had 101
solo
wins.
wins or wins in total.
Not solo, it's just all together.
All together, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually just started grinding solos a couple days ago. It was like a big squad and duo person.
Yeah, solos for me is just way more fun. Like my biggest problem playing duos and squads is like I'm way too selfish and aggressive and impatient. So like if I go down and I die, like if it's
You're ready to get into the next game.
right, exactly. If it's like close to the end of the
Yeah.
game, I'm like, all right, yeah, you guys like play it out. Like I'm totally cool with that.
Nah, I totally understand what you're saying.
that's rough, bro. No way. Oh, I thought somebody just threw a nade right at my feet. I'm up in the clock tower.
Alright, ready for the quad. Ready for the 5 tuple quad?
Let's get it.
I literally have 5. I have 5 freaking quads, dude. Or, I mean, pumps, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, I'm just gonna come to you, actually. Guy in the middle of the street. Doesn't have any weapon. No, he's not running into your building. Oh yeah, right to your left, breaking in. First floor. He's got nothing. Nice. I think that was a teammate to the guy I killed.
CROSSBOW up here if you want.
Oh, guy up here, second floor with me. Got him down.
Nice.
Teammates right up here. Yep, got him.
Nice. Very nice.
Ooh. Oh, there's 2 blue
So
ARs
another
up
pump
here.
down here. I can give you a double pump right here if you want it.
No, I'm not a double pump kind of guy.
Alrighty. I can respect it.
Are you a big double pump guy?
Oh yeah. Yeah, because I'm such an aggressive player that I literally
Right.
just push. And I will build above you and I will just jump right in, double pumping the entire way.
I mean, I can't hate. I can't say I love running into double pumpers, but I mean, it's in the game, so what are you gonna do, right?
Alright, roof is... And they just shot my thing down from the roof. Our apartment building. That's pretty low in the garage.
Yeah, guy up on the roof, 30. There's dudes below us too. I think there's guys trying to come up.
Oh man, I ran out of mats. The dream.
Go on. Whoa, just lagged really hard.
So there's guys on you.
No, I don't think there's anybody on me. Oh, shoot. Just saw some guys going to the building to the north. Oh, shoot. I'm getting shot up from behind.
Is he at the bus?
There you see him. Got him. Guy right down on me, too.
Okay, under you said?
Yeah, he's right near me, first floor. I don't think he knows I'm here with him. Oh, he's going upstairs. Yeah, he's just going up.
This is a Chucky beat
Oh no, I think I know where he is.
Oh, you're over there. I mean,
It's all good.
thought you're still at the Trump Tower. Very
Yeah.
nice. Hillside?
What direction?
South, I'm sorry.
That's all good.
They got a crossbow. They're building.
Oh shoot.
Is that at the house to the?
Yeah, guys on the roof
west
to the 285, I think. Somewhere in the building to 285. Maybe it was on the ridge. I don't know. I think it was in the house though. Oh yeah, on the roof.
No. Hillside.
He's lasered, shields all off right behind.
I'm
Shoot, just barely his head showing. Yeah, I'm gonna heal up real quick. Oh damn, that was awful. Yeah, he's got scoped AR too.
He said he's on the roof.
He's right on the other side of the roof. He's like built up on the back wall. Just gonna go for this.
I like the aggression. Yes, my type of play.
How much shield do you have, bro? Holy lord. I mean, I missed two.
He's a laser beam. Watch out.
I missed 2 shots, but you know. Still.
And then we also had those kids that were like southeast coming down from the hill.
Oh, okay.
Get some mats as well.
Oh, yep. Shot to the west. Sniper shot. Yeah, somebody just got knocked out with a bow. Feels sad.
Wait, to push those shots to the west? Or no?
Yeah, let's
We're
get
gonna
it.
go for safe zone. Okay, let's do it.
Whoa! Potato that. What's up, Michael?
I see him. Got a crossbow. Oh, just went through his head.
Oh, guy building onto the tree to the left too. Like southwest 240. Yep, right behind the tree. Yep. Don't die. Thanks, Bear. I'll do my best. Oh, building up right in the house right in front of us. Oh, shoot. Woo! Nice, good stuff. Guy still by the tree. Unless he ran
Guys
out.
over
Oh,
here
yeah,
as
right behind you. Nice, good
The guy
stuff.
still by the tree?
Is he?
Or not? I don't know if he said if he was by the tree or not.
I thought that maybe that was the guy that rushed up on you. I don't know.
More than likely.
And there's nobody over here. Dang. You guys got any snipers? Oh, I'll take the semi-auto.
You can have the bolt if you want it.
Oh, no, it's all good. Let me check back here.
You got any heals?
Oh, no,
on?
actually, we gotta go. Yeah, I got 4 bandages. That's it.
I need those. You got a launch pad at all?
No,
I need those
unfortunately
bandages
not.
right away because I'm 3 HP.
Oh, okay. Oh, shoot. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Drop the bandages, Henis! Jeez. How far do we have to go? Okay, we're not too bad.
We're not too bad, but it's gonna be close.
Yeah, I don't have anything, so I'm just gonna book it.
Yeah, go right ahead. Bandages? Where'd they go? Did you pick them up?
I dropped them. I gave them to you. No, I don't have them. Are they not there?
Nope, they're gone.
What? Really?
Feels good, game. Yeah.
They must have
gone.
glitched or something. What the hell?
Oh man. What in the world?
There's no way we're making this then.
Can't buy.
If we
Bro, fix your game, Ark.
if we keep of course I just take fall damage right there. If we keep resing each other, I don't know if we can make it or not.
Nah. Maybe.
How funny would that be?
Possibility.
As soon as I res you, you're gonna have to res me though. I'm at 16.
Okay.
We're just gonna have to run like at the same speed. Yeah, I got 8. Let's try to get right into the basketball court here. Build that right there. Yo, imagine if we pulled this off. That'd be so funny.
Oh my goodness gracious, dude.
Pick up the crossbow? I don't think that would help us right now, Joey. But thanks for
Yo, you gotta cry. Can I ride your crossbow?
Oh, there are bandages right here. I don't know how many. Okay, there's 5. All right, here,
Yeah,
I'm
5 HP.
gonna heal up real quick. All right, here, I'm gonna get you.
As long as we get the revives off, we're good.
We're somehow still alive.
Oh my goodness.
All right, I'm just gonna take these 2 and go. You have 2 or 3.
Yeah, go.
No, I'll be able to make this. I can make this for sure.
Yeah, I'm bandage stacking. Yo, we got this, dude. Let's go. Oh man.
There's no way we just pulled this off.
All right. Next play. We loot a crate. We get rockets. I'm gonna rocket ride you out of the gas, and then I'll meet you there.
All right, yeah, we literally gotta run now. Holy Lord.
Oh my goodness. The 200 IQ plays.
Oh, I think we can outrun this too. I think we'll be able to make it
Yeah,
there
I
before it
think
catches
we
up
can.
to us. I got no building material left at all.
I got some mats. Here, you want me? Here, I'll give you brick. Run behind me real quick. I'll drop all my brick for you. I'll use the wood.
Okay, perfect.
Oh my goodness. Dude.
Damn. Now we're literally 1 shot though, but it's all good.
I got 4 bandages left. We can pop 2 each.
Okay, nice.
We got shields as well. We got this, dude. This is easy wins. Easy wins.
Easy dub. Not even close, chat. Not even close. I'm gonna go through here real quick. See if somebody left bandages. I think that sniper's gonna have some nice bandages for us.
Oh, hold on. Stand still. No! No.
Oh, see, they have no idea though. They have no idea. They have no clue where they just got shot from.
Here, I'll drop you these other 2 bandages.
All right, perfect.
1 1 second. Let me just pop this real.
Don't you dare get away. Got one.
Hit him for 33.
Oh, did you drop him? Yeah. Peace out.
They were fighting a team.
Oh,
by
shoot,
Dusty.
yep.
Team on top of Dusty as well.
Nice, good stuff. Oh, shoot. Oh, I just got lasered, dude. Come on, man.
Live over here.
Oh, okay. Here, I'm gonna bandage up real quick.
I have no idea where this kid is. This guy is a magician. I have no idea where he went. I'm so scared. Help me!
Oh, he ran back, I think.
Oh, to the right. Okay, this guy's gonna. These two guys are probably gonna push us here.
Okay. I think are they still those guys on Dusty too? I think. Oh shoot.
I think those are the guys from Dusty.
There's a minigun right out front here.
Okay. I think only one's got a sniper.
Oh no, guy at the tree right here. Guy at the tree. Yeah, there's one guy at the tree trying to crossbow us. I'm just gonna try to grab this real quick. Grab that, grab that. Alright, I got 307 LMG ammo, so we can just try to unload on him.
They keep moving. They're going 120 now. Oh, dude, that's so close. One's going to that broken house. He's close on broken house.
Right where I'm at?
Yeah.
I'm on the roof.
He's up front. I got you.
I'm trying to laser him right now. I'm destroying my own house. Yep.
Oh, I knocked his teammate.
Oh shit, there's still the guys at,
from Dusty?
there's still the guys at Dusty Depot too, yeah. I'm just gonna try to sit in the roof here. I don't know if they'll be able to get me or not.
This is a Chucky Beat production.
He's trying to crossbow me, dude. Oh no, he's right below, Dude, there's two in here. No, he's trying to pickaxe me. His teammate doesn't have anything. I don't think his teammate has anything. No. Nice.
Let's go.
Oh my god. Alright, we got 50 seconds.
Pump, baby. Double pump, baby.
Oh, you hear building? Yep. No, they're right outside. He's gonna be pushing in. He's looking. He's building up on the side here. You see him? He's building up right on top. Yeah. No, of course, bro. I didn't have any more material left, man. He's right on me. Yeah, right behind you. He's down underneath, and his teammates to the east, pushing up.
Oh god. This is so bad. We are in a predicament.
These guys from Dusty are just unloading, dude. You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
Just sitting back there. Oh my god.
Oh, dude, that was such a good game.
We almost had an
insane
play there. That would have been amazing.
Oh, GG, well played. Nice try.
So close, so close.
So.
Oh man, this is probably my last game. I gotta get off.
Sounds good, brother.
Oh man. One of these days, I will not run out of wood when I'm building. That's literally the worst feeling. There's nothing better than like having 999 wood. Nothing feels better than that. Just feel invincible. Alright, last game. We're getting a dub right here.
Let's do it.
What headset is that? I think I have the same one. This is the HyperX Cloud 2's. Best headset ever. Want to go retail?
Yeah, let's do it. Texting the lady. Happy wife, happy life, right?
Exactly. I mean, can't say I quite relate, but I'm only 19.
Well, not married. Not married, but my girlfriend. Gotta keep her happy, bro. My life is happy. Maybe I can finesse some like Chipotle out of it, so I can just stay here and play this game all day.
I'm going to Doghouse.
Oh, God. I'm out. No, mine. Oh god. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. I'm out. I'm out for the count.
I'm a kill. Oh god. You know what? You know
I
what?
got a magnum. He got a tack shotty. That fight didn't go over too well. I missed my headshot.
That seems fair. All right, where was he? In this house right here?
Yeah, there's 2 of them in there with tacks. They just broke that wall right there in front of you. Below you.
Oh, well, hello. Wow. Greetings.
That doesn't count. Redo.
No, absolutely not. They were obviously hacking. Obviously hackers.
Hacker. Gimme.
Oh man.
So you just stream on YouTube then?
I used to like. So it's funny. Just until a couple days ago, I was restreaming on both YouTube and Twitch, and then I thought there was some issue that was happening with like the transcoding streaming to restream. I thought it was causing issues on the YouTube side, so I'm just streaming to YouTube right now. But I tried my best to dual stream on YouTube and Twitch.
Gotcha.
Ask anybody that watches my Twitch streams though. I never look at the chat just because the YouTube's one really the only one that's moving. There's like 3 kids over on Twitch that are like, you never answer us.
That's cool that they have like sponsors and stuff too, so it's kind of like subs.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Subs.
All right, are you feeling tilted for final game, or do you want to play it safer than that?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Let's do
always
it.
feel tilted.
Aggression.
Dude, I was born and raised in Tilted, my friend.
It's crazy how many people still come here. Like
I know.
every game.
I don't think it'll ever like did you ever play PUBG?
No, not really.
Okay, so the school was like the hot spot on PUBG. School and military.
I'm gonna try to aim for the clock tower in the back.
All right.
Jesus, yeah.
I will land on the home. What is that? The full house right next to it. Looks like the full house
Yeah.
house.
Oh, there's a couple. Yeah, never mind. Never mind. There's 4 people there at clock tower. There's a dude on the roof with you. Oh lord.
course.
He's trying to. Of course, he's trying to pickaxe you. Yeah.
Yeah. Just goes for the bludgeon instead.
Here, I gotta pump. I'm coming up. Attack out here too. Oh wait, are you beneath me?
Oh my, I'm dead. Yeah, I'm beneath you now. They're both pumped. Yeah, I'm all the way down low. They're jumping down on me now.
I'll try to break out of here.
Oh my. They're just trying to. Oh my gosh, dude. No. Help!
I'm trying to break out, man. Wait, where are you?
Right here.
Got one. Where's the
This
teammate?
one's chasing me. He's chasing me. Get him! Yeah, boy! What's up?
Here, I got a pump for you. You can take
I
that.
love you. Thank you.
Oh, the other guy's in the house right here.
They were trying to be slick and just pickaxe me to death. Both of them.
Oh shoot! No! I'm down. No, there's 2 guys.
No!
There's unloading over
Mercy just kills right away.
There's 2 of them in there, like literally right where I died. Oh, damn. There we go.
Alright. I'm gonna go suicide.
Yeah, I got time for one more. These have been horribly quick. Yo, main slime.
What's a good way to start a channel for gaming?
Honestly, man, just start producing content, brother. That's like the biggest tip I can give to you. Just start producing content, man. And have fun with it. Don't take it too seriously. But thank you very much for the dono, bro. Appreciate it.
I was all the way down low. And I was hitting him, but I was too far away to get, decent enough damage on him.
Yeah, the angle there was weird because of the stairs. How many wins? Today, I think... Actually, today, I don't think I've won any. I had a horrible 1v1 that I lost early on in the stream. I don't know how I lost it, and that was it. That's the closest we've come to winning. Was a 1v1 against a no skin.
Honestly, bro, if we didn't get pushed by those 2 guys, I think we could have.
Well, no, I pushed.
Each other.
Oh. Yeah, no, that would have been insane. 5,000 IQ. All right, what are you feeling? Pleasant? We'll shake it up a little bit.
Yeah, let's do it. you have the parachute mechanics? You have the secrets of the parachuting or something? Because I'm like, I follow you here. I don't know what you're doing, but.
Oh, I'm just trying to go. So like, you know, if I was right over the mountain, trying to land, there's like right. Yeah. It would force me to land, or force me to pull out my parachute sooner, and then it would take me forever to land.
I'm gonna land at this red brick house right here.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll land there too. Yeah, 2 other guys with us. They're on the first floor though. I got a chest, AR. I'm dropping down the first floor immediately. Got one.
Nice.
I don't know who the teammate is. Just gonna finish him off. Oh, nade.
In the garage, maybe?
Outside? Yeah, nade's coming from the front. Oh, yeah, nade's coming from the White House to the southwest, where the nades are coming from.
Okay.
Yeah, the building lag at the beginning of the game just ruins me every time.
I'm still tap firing like I'm on the test server.
Oh, yeah, you got an AR, right?
Yeah, I got it. I got the AR, we good.
Get right on the roof right here. And I'm all out of material.
Great,
oh, that's
great
sick.
Game.
That's fantastic. Oh, they're on me. What's up, bro? I see him. Nice, good stuff.
Ammo here.
I got 10 bandages. Oh no, you didn't lose any health.
No, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I
got
a shield or something.
I got magnum by
magnum. I'm gonna double magnum. Let's do it. Double magnum massacre.
The double magnum strat. That's a bush. I saw it twitch and I was like, wait a second.
We're not on test server right now. So, the double magnum is.
It was right up top. Oh shoot! I ran out of ammo. Oh my god, he's got a pump. His teammates in the house too, trying to break out. Teammates gonna be right above. Nice, good stuff.
Let's go, baby!
I got bandages, so I'll be good.
Gimme!
The clutch. The clutch. Oh, I thought it was
And an extra just because I'm new to your streams.
Oh boy.
First one I caught, but I
am all out of ammo. Yeah, I can't help. I can't help right now at all. Got one. One right out front. I don't know where the other one is.
He's on that guy's body. Let's go, baby!
Nice, good stuff.
Yes, dude. I'm so hyped right now.
This is the win. This is it. This is it.
Oh, I'm so hyped. Gimme!
Finally got some AR ammo. It's about goddamn time.
Alright. I gotta heal real quick.
I could use a shotgun too. Do any of these guys have one?
Here, I can give you this.
I'll take the purple.
Like
I'll take. Oh yeah, I'll take the pump. For sure. Beautiful.
I'm digging the teamwork. I like. Very much.
Communication is key. I mean, you probably know that more than anybody.
Oh yeah. You should have heard some of our comms sometimes playing like scrims and stuff. Oh my goodness.
I can never keep up when I'm listening to like when they do those like live listen-ins or anything when they did them for like COD or whatever. Back when I was watching the COD competitive scene, it's like how can you even pay attention to what's being said? There's like everybody's talking, yet somehow like everybody knows exactly what's being said and where everybody is. It's ridiculous.
Everyone's screaming. That's when I originally got into like competitive gaming was Halo 3.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was just non-stop like screaming. That's what it was. But it's so much fun. Well, especially like in the venues and stuff when you're not playing like on main stage, like it's so loud because there's so many other people, so many other tables and LAN setups around you that you have to scream. And you're trying to talk over each other, and talking crap to the other team, and all kinds of stuff.
Exactly. Gotta talk smack. Gotta let them know.
Oh my god, yeah. Gotta let him know. I'm so happy with myself. I actually woke up at a decent time today. So
I've been trying to fix my sleep schedule, but it's usually pretty bad.
I think I got to bed last night around like 2 a.m. and I was able to wake up at like 9 o'clock. Well, that's nice. But I haven't been starting until like 12:31. So it's been sucking.
Starting streaming or?
Yeah, started playing. And I bartend on Fridays and Saturdays, so like, and then I spend all day on Sundays with my girlfriend. So like my main grind days are Monday through Thursday, and then I play a little bit on Friday and Saturday. But I don't know if it starts tomorrow or Saturday, but I have they call it partner spotlight. Basically, Twitch puts you on the front page of the website for an hour a day for a week straight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I have that coming up. So that's gonna hopefully help out a lot with like
that's
exposure
awesome.
Wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's happening at the perfect time too. So it's happening on like I waited a year and 2 months for it like to get this slot. And it's happening at a perfect time. Like I'm having so much fun playing this game. Like I love streaming this game. I'm addicted to playing and streaming again. It feels so good.
This is honestly, this is one of the most perfect games to stream ever too, because you can play it for like at least for me personally, you can play it for so long.
Oh, dude, yeah, I
play this game for.
I play like 8 hours a day minimum.
Yeah. All right, sorry guys, my chat closed out there for a second. Am I playing with Avery? No, I'm playing with KP. All right, what's your? How do you go?
Everyone says I sound like Avery.
Oh, there's guys building right in front of us.
Right in front of us, yeah.
Okay. Split up.
One drop.
Oh shoot.
All right, I'm gonna push hard. Watch the top for me. I'm gonna push that bottom guy.
Okay.
And
Oh, yep. I don't see the top guy yet. Oh, yep, top guy's still in here. Oh, nice. Oh, we had Chug Jug. Well, actually, here, I got ban. Oh, okay, you got a med kit. All right, perfect. Yeah, I'm just gonna chug this actually.
Here, I got a slurp for you if you want the slurp. Oh no.
I got the I'll just take the Chug Jug. You got the make, and I got a campfire too.
Beautiful. They didn't know what hit him.
Damn. That sound after the Chug Jug goes off gives me chills.
So what I want to do is, I don't really like, bartender, like we drink a decent amount or whatever.
Right.
But like I don't really drink that much anymore, just because like I see like what it does to people. Like I work it. I work that environment. I don't want to be somebody like that, But we still, I still like to party and have a good time for, here and there. So what I want to do is they make these things called pony kegs. So it's like little mini kegs, and they look like Chug Jugs, and it's like made by Heineken. Like,
really?
I have it by me, so every time I drink a Chug Jug, I grab.
You just take one of those.
And Chug Jug out of it too.
That's funny.
There's a semi-automatic sniper right here if you would like.
I'll grab that.
Let's go. We got 11 kills. Not too bad.
But yeah, it's interesting. That never even really stuck out to me when you said that. A lot of people say that you kind of sound like Avery. You got like, it never really struck me until someone mentioned it.
Yeah, no, a
but
lot of people sound like him. Like we definitely sound different, but we sound a lot alike too.
You use voice meter, right?
Nope, I use.
You don't use voice meter.
Farm, actually.
Oh, okay.
So I have the Line 6 UX2 with an AT2035. And
I was gonna say yeah.
Like, it basically makes the production quality of the mic obviously sounds so much better.
Right, right.
Like my voice isn't this beautiful. I wish, I wish. But a lot of people see me and they're like, damn, like you actually have a deeper voice than expected. I mean, and that's even in real life too. My voice is much deeper.
Someone said tack over pump unsubbed. Bro, I'm sorry, man. It's just, I'm not a pump guy. Not a pump guy.
Ah, bro. Tell him that he's got to resub because I double pump.
Ooh. Well, if my teammate's double pumping. Oh, guy right here.
Blue twice.
Oh.
Goodness
Oh,
gracious.
teammates lit. Shields off. Yeah. There's absolutely no shield left. His sense of being is nearly gone.
He's knocked.
Nice. Teammates right there. Oh, shoot. One of these days, I'll hit a shot. He's weak. Nice. One of these
I'm just
days.
waiting. I'm waiting for the opportunity for the double pump. I've yet to see a pump shotgun this game, except for the one I gave to you. There it is. We're good. I'm so happy now.
Henis, is the crossbow good? I mean, it's alright. It's not, you know. It's more a gag weapon than anything else. I don't think of anything else I want to take here. Nah, I think it's good.
Yeah, I got my second game on today. Actually, I got a win.
Oh, when you were playing earlier?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, getting solo wins in this game is still satisfying. Something about
It is, man. Like, it was only like a 10 kill win, but I mean, it's still just like, hey.
Right.
And then I had a really nice clutch, like 14 kill or 15 kill win earlier today.
And yeah, doing it in front of an audience too makes it 10 times better.
Yeah, it does. Right on me, right on me.
Oh, shoot. Got one?
I got it. Yep, I'm building right now, or I'm healing.
See him right here? He's gonna get me, bro. He's weak.
Dude.
Building up behind you, RPG. Or he's got an RPG.
No, dude, my building, my stairs got rotated, man.
I hate when they have to seriously fix that.
They have to fix that. I die so much because of the building glitches.
Right.
Oh, that is so triggering, man. Oh.
It's obnoxious.
Wow. All right, brother.
Alright, man. It's been a pleasure.
GG's, my dude. We'll definitely get some more games in sometime. It was a pleasure to meet you too, man.
Absolutely.
Thanks for the games.
Absolutely. Pleasure playing with you too. We gotta get a win.
Yeah, man.
We gotta get it.
we'll
We gotta
get
get
a
the
W
first
for
one.
sure.
It's gotta happen. It's gotta be
Absolutely.
on stream. Alright, man. Take it easy.
Later, man. Have a good one.
You too.
Later.
Alright, guys. I'm gonna head out. Appreciate all of you guys coming out. You guys were absolute legends. Keep Star got suspended on Twitter. Yeah, I saw that. Henis, check DMs, you sexy creature of sex. Alright, man. I should check DMs. Yeah, I'm gonna go help out my dad with some stuff for the afternoon, and then I will be live streaming later tonight, guys. So hopefully you guys will come chill later tonight. And that's usually when we get more viewers too, because right now, I mean, yeah, viewership right now is just not what's happening. So I'm gonna head out. We're not gonna go ahead and do a raid, but I will do a raid later tonight after we're done streaming. More Fortnite tonight. Keep chilling, and yeah, we'll have a good one. We're not gonna do a raid, but I'll catch you guys in the PM. Oh, it's already the PM, but later tonight. I'll be sure to keep you guys updated on Twitter as well. Yeah, we were live for a little over 3.5 hours, so it's a solid stream. But I'm gonna do another night stream too. We're gonna play a little bit more with the crossbow, have a little bit more fun, and I'll probably end up playing some duos with Billiard or playing with Kenny. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all. I'll see your beautiful faces in the next one. Until next time, everybody, keep gaming, and as always, stay cool. Adios. Why does that button not work?